Newsflash.
Saddle up, saddle up, saddle up. Let me say welcome and heti poo to the Genesis family out there. You know what time it is. You're in tune to Genesis Radio and the People's Talk Show. Let me say welcome to all of those that are tuned in and are raring and ready to go. And that's exactly what we are. We are raring and ready to go. You know the rules. I want you to be cordial. No bullying. No, swearing, being, let's be cordial to each other. Let's just have a family affair, yeah. And let's just, so we can share ideas and concepts and we can, come to conclusions all by our lonesome. We don't need anyone. Not to say that we don't need interaction with other groups. Of course we do. I'm not speaking about isolation here. But what I'm talking about is us as a community able to talk things. It's a platform. It's provided for that. And we want you to participate. It's not going to be about me or my personal opinions. I've got a special guest with me, but I'm not going to say who it is yet. So just keep you in suspense, shall I? We have two guests today. We have a guest coming in, Prophet. And those of you who tuned into my show on Thursday would have had privy to some of the things that were discussed and are going to be discussed today. He's a prophet. And we want to know whether we have use with that kind of thing within our community and how valuable that is to us today. Can we use that knowledge given the fact that we, not unlike any other group, we're not claiming no special ground with other groups, that we're in the same pan as everyone else. According to the Tree of Life, we want to keep things within the law. As you hear me, my show. I'm not going to do that today. Don't worry about it. But I'm in keeping with the ideas that are around spirituality, of course, which is quite in accordance with our daily life. Don't think spirituality is up there in the clouds and there's nowhere, and we can do things. One thing the Prophet said Thursday on the show, he says, why do you think Indians are so successful? And they do the little rituals every now and again, and you got them. You can see them. I've actually seen Indians burning some massive incense outside their yard, And we've got to look at what the Prophet said. He looked at it. I'm not talking about Prophet Gad. I'm not talking about Selassie I. I'm talking about this Prophet that was on my show on Thursday, and he made that proposition that why do you think other communities are so such Chinese as well? Chinese really do their thing. So we're looking into that when he arrives. Let me first introduce our guest, one of our guests. Not really a guest here, but have not. You can read that while I talk. And So what we want to do, we want to use the first section of the show to facilitate this topic. What I was looking at the other day, and that's the Oxfam scam. It's quite, heartbreaking, how we're so vulnerable. And I would need to ask some very important questions, I need to ask some very, very, the $1 million questions. How come is Africa as poor as they like to make out? And this latest Oxfam scam, where they went to countries to help them and end up raping them or end up in prostitution like that. And it's quite, now I think a few of the workers are dismissed. Oxfam is not really denying sexual misconduct and, all in kind of deprivation, sending their people to help, and the next thing they know, they're getting their leg over. You know what I mean? Which is quite vulnerability. And, you remember, I've always spoken about this. You remember? I've always pointing it out. And do you know something as well? It's not only Oxfam that are involved in this. There's other little fringe groups that masquerade as liberation groups are doing the same thing. But only because Oxfam has been found out, and these little fringe groups have not. But they make good use of the same sort of idea that Oxfam is building. And I have to ask the question, well, the $1 million question about the image that's been portrayed of Africa as being needy. I could never, ever get my head around a country that has 54 states, and it's still needy. I don't understand. I mean, are we talking about the whole continent that's needy? So let me introduce the guests here, and we have no one else but the illustrious Dionne. How about that then, eh? It's a pleasant surprise to have Dionne with us in the studio today. Grab your mic. Is that working?
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening.
Somebody was quite inquiring about you. Keep on saying the best lady, best talk show host.
Try to give me any props.
What's this here?
It's all good.
Is that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, let me take that one.
I have no idea. Good morning, good afternoon.
Could you hear yourself
evening.
out there?
I think so.
Yes. Yeah, someone was talking about you the other day and saying that.
Oh, were they
yes.
scandalising my knee?
No, they're saying you're the best thing since sliced bread, actually.
Oh dear. It wasn't you, was it?
No, it wasn't
okay.
me. I wouldn't do that yet. Come on.
Oh, well, thank you, whoever that was.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, the love.
Yes.
And, of course, to all the Genesis family, because you are in tune to genesisradio.co.uk. We're here, and we are the Genesis. Genesis is the beginning, not the end.
Yes, how you doing?
I'm good.
You're looking very
good.
well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been like, you can have a couple of years where the creator crashes everything you are and and it's about rebuilding, regenerating, rebirth, transformations, and we're going through that consistently, and sometimes it can be difficult. It can be challenging when the adversity's everywhere, but with the good grace of the creator all around us every day in every way, we get through it.
True.
And so I've come back.
Yes.
Full circle.
Back or forward?
Both.
Both, yeah. Full circle.
Full circle.
Come
back
home.
to the starting point.
Yes. I often contemplate. I even said it on my show as well the other day that we were like pretty gun ho back in there, and you was the one that always, was able to calm my spirits. You know what I mean? I was gun ho. I'm the bull. When they used to wave the red flag, I would go charging. We had a good time. About 8 years,
did.
5 years of it, innit? 5 or 6
so
years.
much was learned by me in that time.
When you first came on, your little squeaky voice, I said,
shut
throw your voice against the wall. Against the wall.
Shut up. To be effective, you don't have to be screaming and shouting at all times.
True.
Sometimes the best way is to be a little bit more moderate and less.
And less, we call it a word for it, innit?
More dispassionate.
That's right.
Not as passionate and intense.
Yeah,
you don't have to bund the fire.
Exactly.
It's not always a good thing.
It sounds, when you're doing that, when you're bunning fire, it always sounds good. But when you listen back to it,
you think you sound.
Yeah, that's right.
You believe you
I've
sound
learned
good.
that a lot. Yeah. And you always told me as well, when I was pretty much gun ho, to be less passionate. Don't be so.
Calm it down.
Yeah, cool it.
Yeah, you don't have to kill it. You can just batter bruise it a little bit. No,
yeah,
not being serious.
But you could talk because you're ready, mate. I mean, we've got recorded, remember?
Shush! Don't tell everyone. They'll go and look for it.
It's on YouTube, you know what I mean?
You see, now you're broadcasting for me.
Oh, man, you were proper gun-ho to
Only
when you were ready.
when I needed to be. I didn't wear it on my sleeve. I just simply...
You're live on Genesis, even though the line's not open yet.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm sorry, I'm just telling you that I can pick you up very loud.
Very loud.
Very clear.
Okay.
Very loud and clear. And also, I'm recording this show. I'm lately putting shows on YouTube part. I will find the time to put more tunes on YouTube, which I am doing now. Which I've done. Rashid, I missed you a lot. I thought you wasn't on Genesis, I was really scared,
No, I'm here, man.
All right, then I'll just leave it there. Letting you know that I'm picking you up loud and clear.
Thank you very much for that, Bird Track.
Right, both of you, guests. And
Yes,
the
sir.
Sister Dionne as well. Very
Yes.
good she's back.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nah, respect. Thank you for that. Yeah, you're in tune to Genesis Radio, and it's the People's Talk Show, and we are here today alongside Heru and Sister Dionne. Yeah, so we're just contemplating we were. You know the rules of the game. It's about you. We try to be less opinionated, I suppose, because we're discussing for the first half about what happened in Oxfam. The reason why I want to discuss this is because it's so real for us today, and it's part of the community consciousness. How we can give so much money. And sometimes when I see the ads on the television about the water, and these little black children, what I mean? It's
little Asian, Indian children, Asian children that are, starving, thirsty and emaciated.
Yeah, it moves your heart for real.
To remind everyone of something that a sister said, Sister Kenyasu, I'll give her due, it wasn't me. She said they're showing the same adverts from 1972. The same ones.
Mm-hmm. They're from Biafra. Remember the ones before that was Biafrans with a big bang belly?
That's right.
And the flies.
Right. So this is nothing new. And Heru, I know that your spiritual show is not on a Sunday. This is a people's talk show. Just to show the relationship of how the spiritual wickedness in high and low places works.
I'm telling you.
Okay. We always talked about the tree of life. Now, all of that is held in Sekher.
That's right.
Okay, Sekher is power. Saturn takes a long, long, long time for whatever's hidden to be revealed.
You've always said that too, I must admit, yeah.
Okay. And because of that, all these things are going on underneath. It looks good. Smells good. It walks like a duck. Looks like a duck. But it doesn't quack. Everything, we say charity. Charity is about loving and giving and being, being benefic. You're being benevolent. You're giving.
There's a name for it. I'm trying to remember the name for that. Maybe when you're that kind of way. I know what I mean.
But yet still, giving is not just about giving. It's also about receiving.
Yes.
And sometimes the things, when someone offers you something, what is that saying that when someone offers you, don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because you can tell if a horse has got anything left in it by the teeth. I hope you're getting the irony of that,
I get that, which is needed because what we're discussing, the irony is exactly what we're talking about, and how people have been hijacked.
The institution of power, all power, is being taken down.
Is that the time of the
No. It's the cycle that we're in.
The cycle, yeah.
And that leads to destruction and the revelations of what was going underneath this beautiful, pristine
image.
Because it's just that, an image.
Yeah.
And
this is what are we discussing? How vulnerable are we? And
we're very, very good at that. We've always got our hand out, the begging bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, please help me. I need, I want, can you? But we never think that, something, when someone gives you something, puts something in your hand and you take your hand away, their hand must come out at some point.
Yeah.
And look, we have so much saying that become cliched.
Oh, cliches, man. Don't talk about cliches.
Who pays the piper calls the tune.
Oh, that's why I said on my show, aren't we tired of cliches?
But the cliches become cliches because they are true. They are real things that happen. So they just trip off our tongue.
Yeah, the moon is moon and the moon was round. If it wasn't round, it was upside down.
Okay.
Things like that. It becomes gospel-like, and we've turned it into a cult.
And also, we're not realizing that
only us can do
pointing the finger. There's still three pointing back at us.
That's right.
Why are we so generous and ready to receive?
Are we though?
And happy? I think we are. Otherwise, what went on couldn't go on.
Yeah, but human beings are, in general, I think, are like that. Because when we see them pictures of these starving babies.
That's the image, isn't it? It's not the reality. The reality is that baby may be fattened up to have their organs harvested, sold into the slave trade, the sex trafficking trade. Okay,
but
there are many things, and we only see the part where, it's hungry, let's feed this baby, let's give generously.
But anyway, it's not really that, because what it is the staff of Oxfam going to these flashpoints where there's disaster. You see what I'm saying? And they go with the intention, after begging us, and they're able to fund their trip over there, because they hear that every pound you give to these charities. I think it's on the people on the region about two.
That's right. And they spend more in advertising than they do giving to
administration.
There's so much going on. Paying the staff, advertising, and charities make money.
Yes, this is the
they
whole
say
thing.
they're not for profit, but they do make money.
Well, this is what I'm going to drive at. This is what I'm getting at now. It's about time. And so we can argue in the Alenchi and say, we can argue about the wrongs and rights of what Oxfam did to be exposed. As you I don't know if you can really want to read out. There's a bit of it there to get people clued up about Oxfam's dirty deeds behind closed door, mate.
They're not the only one.
I know. We're going to come to that.
There are many.
We have to
in many different types of fields and institutions that it happens in. I just think that we're just being shocked and horrified and amazed because
they got caught.
No, because we didn't know. But just because you didn't know, it doesn't mean it wasn't happening. And if someone told you, would you believe it?
I would never even dream. To be honest, I wouldn't dream. Do you want to read?
Certainly.
Do you want to read what is? So people can be clued up on that. Those of you who don't know.
Okay, this is The Guardian. I'm not sure if it's today or not, but it's The Guardian. It says...
It's this week's news it was anyway.
Oxfam told to show moral leadership. Not financial leadership. Not leadership in any other fields, but morals. Or lose government funds. Minister says charity must hand over all its information on use of prostitutes in Haiti. Haiti.
Gosh.
Hope I said that right.
Using prostitutes in Haiti.
Haiti, yeah.
Well, they become pimps.
That's what they did. They were there harvesting organs.
My God.
And taking people's children and selling them out, as well as everything. It's a free-for-all when they do these drives. The International Development Secretary has said the government will end funding to Oxfam unless the charity shows moral leadership and hands over all its information on its aid workers' apparent use of prostitutes in Haiti. Penny Mordaunt said the charity had lied to the department at the time of the staff members' dismissal by telling them no aid beneficiaries were involved in the misconduct. She said the reports were a complete betrayal of the people Oxfam were there to help. And also...
Sorry, that part again, Oxfam were there to help.
Yeah, she said the reports were a complete betrayal of the people Oxfam were there to help. And also people that sent them there to do the jobs.
Okay, it's like what we've been saying, me and you, about the lower animal. The animal that runs rampant.
I believe people call it smart and clever these days.
Yeah.
They think they're smart.
Setians.
And they're clever. Yeah. So I want to go and abuse children. I know that it would be wrong to do it here because this is an enlightened place and the likelihood of me being caught is quite high, one way or another. But they don't have TV in IET.
Do that? They don't?
No, they do, but like it's a pretty poor.
Like, I mean, it's
allegedly
class thing.
Allegedly poor. And if you've had a disaster, you don't have electricity, never mind TV. So I can go there with these people who've been traumatized by whatever natural disasters happened, and I can violate them some more.
So it's like somebody, going to help a sister, like somebody just got raped, and they see somebody and say, "Could you help me, please? Please help me." Then all of a sudden, yeah, of course I can.
And they do.
Take around the corner and help themselves. Human beings are like that?
Some human beings, not all human beings. Let's keep it in...
Well, we'll talk about the animal that runs rampant.
And we all have them, whether or not they are... They come in the sheep's clothing, the wolves.
Right. That's right, yes.
The sheep, the chicken. There's a kind of hierarchy, isn't there? The fox, the lion, the tiger. They're all there in the animals. And that's what I like about the Medunita. It describes it in our nature.
That's right.
Because even we have a reptilian brain. It's cold, it's calculated, and it's out to get what it will.
And it will.
And it does not mind going over you, under you, through you,
that's the
to
actual
achieve it.
The subconscious. That's the boy. That's the one that tells you when you want to stop smoking. No, you're bloody ain't, mate.
Exactly. So imagine all that no matter how much you will it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No matter
We're
how much
susceptible to these things, right?
Heru is in the mix. I don't want to smoke anymore. The animal's like,
Oh, yeah.
really? Really?
Well, you're gonna do.
I don't want to drink anymore.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to be over sexualized anymore. I want to
I don't wanna be
change
a
things.
paedophile.
I don't want to be a sex offender.
Sex offender, yeah, and but that drive,
that urge every time that little squirt
primordial
swishes past, or that those
Right.
assets are revealed.
the reptilian brain kicks in.
And do you know, there is a certain level of resentment. A couple of brothers I've spoken to were quite upset by the fact that they had a physical response to the female of the kind.
Yeah, really.
And they blamed sisters who were not even conscious that their eyes were upon the part that they liked. And their body showed a response to that liking. They were like, yeah, and they shouldn't go out like this because men... I was like, brother, you need to wake up. You're supposed to glory in that feeling because it means that you are, to coin the European phrase, heterosexual. You are attracted.
So not metrosexual.
No. They were definitely, absolutely heterosexual, but they resented the fact that a woman could unknowingly tempt them.
Unknowingly, though. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, let's be balanced here, shall we? I mean, I can understand the brothers. I'm still saying that because when the woman dress, with a low cut, why would she be putting on a low cut? And because it's not for herself. Sure, it's not for herself.
Why not? That's
It
an
can
assumption.
Be. Yeah,
you're
it's assumption,
assuming there.
It's assuming as well. You assume
it's an
for,
assumption.
I can assume it's for themselves, but when they look in the mirror and they want, if a man don't say anything to them at all.
Not every sister.
No, but what I'm saying, that's why I said bring a balance in it. There are those that
every
I know,
sister.
but that's why I said we're going to bring a balance into the thing. The brothers could be right about some sisters. So they ain't making no
some
broad.
They were being quite broad.
Right, but they're being broad. But we know in society there are some that does that.
There are some women who like to have that kind of effect.
Right. So that's just a balance.
That is a balance, but that does not mean to say she hasn't got eyes in the back of her head to see if some man's lusting after her rear end. She doesn't have eyes in her back, so you've got to put it into a real perspective.
Well, being female, I think females are
female
well aware. They
feel-
know that they have that male that they're actually male are attracted to them. I mean, it goes without saying they do know the effect that they have on male because nature.
That's natural.
Right.
It's natural.
So
So
nature-
where has it become unnatural for this phenomena to happen, for brothers to feel real resentment when their body says, oh yeah, that's female?
Yeah, but is it not unnatural to them because they feel the urges, which it triggers? Because it definitely triggers.
But just because you feel something,
primordial, because that's
just
what a supreme
because you
being
feel something, you don't have to do it.
Okay, who was it? That footballer was done for rape last week.
Again.
Yes, and the woman confessed that she was actually lying.
We have
his life
women,
was in jail and all that.
Look at it this
You
way.
see what I'm saying to you?
I hear that. But you know what? The worm has to turn sometimes. Okay, and I've said this before on Genesis. It was hell hath no fury.
See,
like a woman scorned.
Oh, see, now it's kind of contradictory there.
No, it's not contradictory.
Because
Hold on.
why should a woman have fury over
Hold
a man?
Hold on a second. Let's take it nice and easy and measure ourselves. Now, look at the last part. A woman scorned. Yeah? You have brothers who were scorned, and they were going to tell their friends and anyone else who listened, oh, I had her. And it's not true.
But some are true.
Some is true, but some are not.
Right.
We have no way of knowing which is which and which is not. But hell hath no fury like a woman.
So what you're saying about that? Why are you relating that to?
I'm relating it to
when the woman deliberately lied.
I don't agree with it. Let me get that clear straight away. It's not something that I'm in agreement with. It's wrong. Okay, but say like it happened to her a man did it to her, then let's say, in the past. And that scrambling of her hypothalamus caused her to repeat this action in her brain. And because the reptilian's cold, calculated, and all of us, not just some of us, all of us, it will say, oh, that's what you do. Okay. And it's going to get excited, right? Heru's going to pop in there and say, oh, I've learned that. That's smart, because that gets you what you want. And you can go a long way with it. That's being the clever and the smart.
And that's purely primordial. Primordial.
Where does it start?
This is what we talk about, the 11 urges in man.
That's where it begins.
Primordial urges, so it's there. It's not
there.
a sin.
It's not a sin, and I'm not trying to make it out to a sin. I'm just trying to clarify the point. And because, let's face it, in many cultures, I wouldn't say all because I don't know every single one, women have been mistreated. And no, I am not a feminist.
Oh, don't say that word, because we've got the geezer will jump on that one.
There's none of that business. I don't need a word to define me. I am what I is, which is woman, womb of man. Does that's simple, right? We're not kind of making it complicated, no intellectual aerobics here of how amazing and fantastic just is. Just as I see man. That's good.
Yeah, again, down to that's the way the law is.
That's a good thing.
That governs us. You see what I'm saying to you? We can bring it down to law. It's not an exception, but it's a rule.
It's a rule.
If you don't have a urge for a woman, you're in deep doo doo.
And
but you have an urge for a man. Suppose you have an urge for a geezer now.
Not anymore. All the dynamics and all the stuff is being tampered with, shall we say?
What stuff?
Well, if I don't feel like a woman, I don't know what a woman is supposed to feel like, or if there's supposed to be a supposed about being a woman.
Well, there is. Just check the primordial urge. The procreation thing. You see what I'm saying to you? I mean, society brings down laws about how we can use this, how we're supposed to be married and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Well,
those are social laws.
This is what I'm saying. I'm saying that my primordial urges are pretty much intact. I feel like a woman.
Yeah, and you know
I am a woman.
Yeah, and
you can't
the
feel
only
like
way you can know you're a
not.
woman is because of a man. That's the only way you know that you're a woman.
100%.
Because then the man, if you see you know that you can come into a room and just you command, because you know you're a woman, and man can do it as well. Because man can come into a room full of women and have that primordial instinct about him. I'm not talking about alpha male crap. You know what I mean? I'm not into that. But I'm talking about the feelings.
The compatibility
like an animal.
on a physical level is there. That's why, when I had an animal, a dog, I loved the way dogs interact. At first I thought, ew, that's really nasty.
You mean
when they see each other, they go up to each other, and their way of greeting is to smell each other's.
And to see if the woman's in season.
And to see if the female dog is in season.
Because anyhow you try, outside of that, and that's why I say the animal kingdom is pretty good.
Like I said, it was like, ew. And that's why I was like, how do people let dogs lick their face when they go and lick each other's bits and bobbies? Hey, just like, ugh. It's like, no. But I personally wasn't in that part of it, like letting my dog lick my face or anything like that. But the way how it was...
instinctive.
And natural. For them to do that.
The animals don't have a choice.
Right, but we do.
We do.
But we don't, because we have
the freedom to choose.
What we have is the pheromones.
Yes.
Okay, which is like, I can't smell your pheromones and you can't smell my pheromones.
We just feel it, innit?
Well, no, it's a very complex interaction that goes on with there. That it would take someone who is very, very up on the hormonal side of things. It's not it's a response. Because like you don't have to see the front of a person, you don't have to see their face.
I understand they do give off certain odors. They do.
Everybody does.
That's right.
Everybody does. Pheromones, they're called.
And so the man knows.
So you smell which one among all of them, and you'll know which one you want to.
That's right.
To go to straight, you just beam in on it, and the same for the ladies too. Don't get me wrong.
So let's go back to what we were talking about with this Oxfam thing. So when do you want to just continue with that?
Okay. Mordaunt said the government would cut its funding for the charity unless executives could prove in a meeting with her on Monday that they had the moral leadership for it to continue. Oxfam received nearly 32 million from the government in the last financial year.
Last year, just 1 year.
The last financial year.
Oxfam received
32 million.
So what about when you give? Is that different from what the government gives them?
Of course.
Bloody hell!
It's like the government gives you housing benefit, but you receive universal credit.
So the government give. Oxfam.
Yeah, there's a part they'll say, well, we'll give you this much, and you've got to either match it, surpass it, or
32 million. So their funding is under threat. Is that what they're trying to say there?
Because of the moral compass.
Yeah, because they heard of, so the government now are responding, telling Oxfam to get his...
And listen to this. What we're in now, 2018. And they've known about this since 2011.
Who known about it? Government?
The charity should immediately hand over its entire 2011 investigation into the sexual misconduct to the appropriate prosecuting authorities and the Charity Commission, she said. This is historic. We're using that word a lot. Historic.
Well, I've got a lot to say about this. I'm just biding my time. Don't worry about
this. This is a historic case, but it is in some respects still alive.
Still alive.
Yeah. So what they're trying to say is, it happened back then, but it's not happening now. As far as we know.
What's not happening? The same.
Yes. They said it's historic, but in some respects it's still current.
I see.
They still have the information they should be giving to the authorities, she told the BBC's Andrew Marshall. We were not told about the nature of these events. They initially said that they were investigating misconduct. Okay. It's a big word, isn't it?
Yes.
And when they concluded that report, they did not tell us the nature of these events. So what they're saying is, it's like me saying, I have something to tell you. And you're going like, go on then. Yeah. And you're going, go on then. And I'm going, well, you know when people go into the shop, right? And they see something.
Let me just stop you there a minute. Let me just give you a new fresh.
Yeah, you know what I like with these lovely things.
Kissing these mics, get out. Is it coming off? Oh, man. Yeah. Right on. Yep. Sorry, folks. We're just changing over these. You've got to be hygienic here. Yes. You can kiss it all you like now. Yeah.
Oh dear.
That's good. Feels better. Right?
Yeah. It says. So it's like telling someone something happened, but not telling them what happened, when it happened, who it happened with, where it happened, and how long it's been going on. You can use words quite creatively. What to coin your phrase?
What's that?
Intellectual aerobics.
Okay, yeah.
So they played intellectual aerobics with their words, and so the commission and the government didn't know exactly what was happening. They said, we're doing a big investigation on misconduct, but not the nature of the misconduct. Was it financial? Is it sexual? Is it in another way? What is it? What? And they didn't ask. Notice that's left out there. They did not ask. What is the nature of the misconduct? Because that would have been a good question.
So how come they come to know it's sexual?
They did tell the Charity Commission there was sexually inappropriate behaviour, bullying, harassment of employees.
Okay.
But not that the employees were violating the ones they were supposed to be helping.
Okay. So even within their own structure, they have this bullying of the staff members and the whole 9 yards. Yes,
so clearly the ones that were engaged in the sexual inappropriateness were bullying and harassing the ones that may not necessarily have been doing it, but were calling it to attention. Like, bro, what are you doing? you should know we're here to help these people, not to touch them.
Take advantage of them.
Yeah, not to violate their trauma even more. And I'd be like, you need to shut up because I'm the manager, and I manage.
That sounds very familiar.
Often does.
Because if that's not just in one area. This is what I'm trying to say. Even in that well-known area, Oxfam, there is other like little fringe little liberation groups that go to Africa. In any case, and my question is, I'll let you continue in a minute. My question is it as like what they say? I mean, I can't understand a continent with 54 states and
how many billions of people?
Right, and I mean that a representative body called the AU that's got a lot of wonga. They've got a whole heap of money. I forgot how much billions.
What does that stand for?
African Union.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? So there's a body that represents these 54 countries, and if there are some countries that are poor, right? Why aren't they? Why? That's why I said we've got to look at the question: does Africa really need aid? You don't. How can a country that's got so much resources, right, and have a governing body called the AU?
They're not in charge of their resources.
They are.
They're not in charge of their resources.
How do you make that one out?
Well, why do you have South Africa, who the Boers took over?
Yes.
Okay, they're not in charge of their. All of this was divvied up by Europe.
Well,
and they control the power. It's written on paper, and I'm agreeing with straw paper people and things like that, straw paper land. So they've got little borders, and what they do is the ones in charge then,
okay,
they will trade with each other. It's like after what's his name, Mugabe or whoever it is. Mugabe.
God rest his soul, bless his soul.
Claimed his country back. He became equally as much as a dictator, which is why absolute power corrupts.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So one of the questions we want to ask then, one of the questions is on what you just said, is Africa in control of its resources?
No, it's not.
Well, I mean, let's see, because I have a different opinion on that.
Because
so let's see,
all their leaders come here to be educated. So if you've been educated outside of your culture, how can you have one?
No?
How can you have a culture that you've not been educated in?
What do you mean?
I mean, like, we have a culture here, right? We have a culture here in the UK.
Yeah.
And within that culture, we have culture.
Yep.
Right? We have the European culture. We have the African Caribbean culture. We have the culture of Africa. We have the culture of Irish, Scottish, Welsh, both of whom have reclaimed a certain level of autonomy, Scotland and Wales that is, by speaking Gaelic, which is their traditional language.
Okay, so let's come back to that. So we have one question we want to ask, or the people can talk about and can comment on. If you think that you think Africa is in charge of its resources, call on 07931 27 62 and a 32. Now repeat.
07931 27 62 32.
And
you are in tune to genesisradio.co.uk. You can also text.
On the same number.
Okay, you can, I don't know if you can tweet. Twitter, or what you mean is you don't understand this technology.
That's right. We're not really that. We're advanced. We're getting there. We're moving towards that. So we'll be there very soon.
Maybe you can WhatsApp. I don't know. I don't know what the phone's like. No WhatsApp?
No
okay.
WhatsApp. Just
cool.
Call
so you can call or text in. And yes, we're going to talk about
one of the questions
these
that we for you to divulge and tell us, because I know. You're in tune to Genesis Radio Live. Fire.
Topics. Are there three, isn't it? Oxfam and other ones as well.
Yes, Saint Bernardo's.
Did you also talk about the thing for a man or thing for a woman?
Well, it's your choice, hon.
Well, basically, I like the topic, the second one. Now, part of it, when you, like, for example, I don't believe in my Muslim culture, homosexuality. And the fact that basically a man having a great time with another person, as I can say eloquently, because I don't want to say the S and the X word. Yeah, so because people are listening. So, having a great time with another man is not appropriate. I mean, what's the good thing about it? Nothing.
But as far as they're concerned, there's got to be something good about it for them.
It's about how you feel.
They probably, I mean, if I'm playing the devil's advocate here, if you ask them, they'll explain to you as far as they're concerned. I listened to a radio station one time; they had a couple of them on there, and they were explaining to the audience, we're just as heterosexual as anyone. What? We're the same people as a heterosexual group.
I know that.
So that's their explanation. So you might think.
I know why they did that, or why they invited them in, but that's personal to me. If you think it, then I can always say that after the air show in person.
We don't want to make it into a show about opinions now.
No.
Your opinions may lean towards the female of the sex. Others may be different.
Exactly.
Let us kind of like.
Well, he's entitled to his opinion, so you can give your opinion.
Let's leave it there because we don't want to make it a show about
what
that.
Of course, no.
Other people have different preferences, and we don't know their lives. We're not a part of their process, but because it is permissible, we have to work with it.
But he's still entitled to his opinion.
Of course,
so
absolutely.
we want to hear your opinion on it. So we're not stifling your opinion, Bertrand. So you can give your opinion.
Of course, I'm saying it as eloquently as I can, without hurting anybody.
That's right.
Because I'm just a normal citizen. I'm not doing anything that is illegal, anything that is violent, anything that is crashing things, destroying things, any of things like that. Any dirty things, any gambling, anything. But what I'm saying is, this is the thing. They are trying to destroy our Muslim community, our Turkish community, with many, many different things. Forcing us to accept other things as well. Trying to turn our women into loose women to have a good time with other men. Turning our men into aggressive beings. They are doing this little by little, and it's become so rampant now in the news, a man shooting a woman. I mean, it's so much things that upsets me. They are trying to force Christianity upon our community. They are trying to force devilic things in our community. And this is why it is so great that I try to come out on mainstream stations and telling it. At least 1% accept it, but that's at the night. But in the morning show, it's all swept underneath the carpet. Anybody that comes on, Asian, Black, or anybody that has their issues in the community like this, it's always swept under the carpet. So I think about this globally.
That is true. But you know something, bro? I'm not interrupting you, but I'd like to pick up on something you said about your women being loose with other men. What does that mean?
Sorry?
You said encouraging your women to be loose with other men.
Which means basically loose. Loose women, they will go out with other people, with other men, when they're married with a man. Basically. Loose, you can force the lady, trick the lady anytime. Even Don Carlos had a track, I think, called Loose Women. And this is why now cultures now have changed. They're trying to destroy cultures. A lady would go out with a man, get married, and would not look at another person. But now what they're trying to do is, in this time, is they're trying to change that thing now and take the lady into loose women to go out with other people. And they're doing this already as we speak.
Do you know what? Well,
And
I'm not
it's
from your
upset.
culture. Not being from your culture and not being from your particular community, I'm trying to get my head around what a loose woman looks like.
Well, it's hard to say because of me being disabled. I cannot describe it to you, but I know what it is. But what they do into each of your community, my community, the other communities, they are trying to set this division. They're trying to set this kind of bad examples, and then they come back and then basically say, "Well, we didn't do this." You know, and this is what they do. And every time it's the West that's doing this, you know. And the only way way before I heard this in African culture, it was get married first. Get the person, to get married. They would come together years ago and they would get the person, the thing, and they would get their funds and the person's married. And there would never be this seclusion. Now, you hear in London, everyone's secluded. Everybody. The white community, the black community, the Turkish community, they're all seclusion. And as I went to the mosque, I saw this person, the man now starting to raise a hand to their father, beating up their father. The man beats up his mother, doesn't care about the thing. It's so much deep. So at least I tried to get it out today.
Is that you believe that's Western values?
Well, I think that the whole world is starting to lose its values. Honor, valor, pride. And when you become prideless,
but pride is
culture,
subjective.
Conscience.
Pride is pretty subjective. My idea of pride and your idea of pride may not be compatible. I pride myself on being a woman. Pride myself on being totally female. I pride myself of being a mother. But my value system isn't about marriage. Compatibility with another person, yes, but marriage under the Western ideology, under any ideology, full stop. I give it great pause. Does that make me a loose woman?
No, not at all. But what I'm trying to say about loose women is when they cheat, when the person's married, cheating right behind their back, doing all sorts of things. The men, however, it seems to be even worse. The man takes a gun and shoots the woman badly in her feet. The man cheats, and then he comes back, and I saw this on the Turkish news. It made me so tears. And he comes with a gun, barrel shotgun, and shoots the woman in both of her knees or kills her. I mean, this is kind of thing that really upset me. And they're showing this on the media. Well, look at the English news, how they show it. They just show a picture, and that's it. Sometimes they don't even show the things that goes on the news. But the Turkish media is always doing this.
But then, Bertrack, personally...
Well, that upsets me.
Then you need to start maybe scaling down on the amount of news you listen to, because it's always going to be bad.
Well, Bertrack, well, thank you for your introduction, because we're trying to keep in line of what the topic that we really raised today. I know it's about the Oxfam and situation with the Oxfam being exposed of going to taking advantage, which is almost similar to what you're saying, but people are being taken advantage of.
Everyone's being exposed now, thanks to these whistleblowers.
Okay.
But soon that might not happen.
Well, I don't think it can stop it. It can't stop whistleblowers. So, we're kind of glad for that, right? So you can always call back later on when things get hot a bit more, right? Thank you very much, Bertrack. Enough respect. So you're in tune to Genesis Radio on the People's Talk Show.
Genesis, styler.
Please hang up and try again.
game.
You're listening to Genesis.
Yes, sir.
Educating the nation.
Can't stop it up. Yeah, yeah, man.
Yeah, okay, right. So we raised a question for you to ponder on. That is whether Africans are in charge of their resources, because we hear so much argument about it. But it's one of the questions. So you've done that one, yeah?
Okay.
Okay, so so you can call in on 07931 27 62 and 32, and I repeat 07931 27 62 and 32. With me in that question, I can't understand it, because if you're a country, yeah, and you got so many resources in Africa. They're talking about the gold and the diamonds that they're giving away over there. They're giving it away, you know what I mean?
If my memory serves me right, my mother said that they were giving it away here. It was on the street. You could
Yes,
just
that's
swipe
right.
it up.
So it's the same kind of idea that's coming over now, that Africa is giving away her resources and she's not in charge of resources. And I want to look at the conclusion. What made you think, or what made people come to that kind of conclusion that Africa, when I say Africa, the 54 countries, you're telling me that none out of the 54 countries are in charge of the resources?
It's all controlled by others.
Look at
Congo. Look at Congo.
that.
Look at Congo, for an instance. It was ruled by the French. So they speak Congolese, and they speak maybe their traditional language as well. But they are now paying children, babies, to go onto a site which is very, very rich in cobalt. Cobalt is a mineral that is used to make your handy mobile devices.
So that means that Africans are a bit naive then. To say that somebody can walk into your country and
go back to what I said. I said it is ruled by the French.
Well, Congo is, yeah.
Congo.
Right.
Okay. So
I want to know, how did it get to that point?
a long, long time ago.
Well, it's so naive. I mean,
Once upon a time, in the cycle of, I can't tell you right now, but things change. And where Congo was a country that was rich, well, it still is, in culture and beauty and resources, some people came there.
Some people.
Some people came there.
Yeah.
And with a forked tongue, they said, look at our wonderful uniforms and our fantastical muskets.
This is what the Prophet was saying to the other day. She said that some of them haven't seen television, don't know. They had the gold there and they didn't know.
But then if you have something...
The value of the gold, they had people and wondered why the white man was coming.
We've talked about the gold and the physical resources here on the Creator's playground, shall we say. We haven't talked about how rich our own resources are.
And we don't know that.
The things that are happening, that have been happening for a very long time, we don't know.
That
Do you know
makes
about
sense.
H21 cells, the black female, that they were selling her DNA to particular peoples for $295?
But who's the richest man in the world?
I don't care.
It was a black man, innit? What's his name? That Muslim brother. The richest man in the world. So how did he know that he was the richest man in the world? Do you remember the name of that? You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Mansa Musa.
That's right.
Yeah, he broke an Arab country straight.
He did what?
He broke it.
Yeah.
He ruined their economy by
Really?
he ruined their economy by just throwing money
right.
around.
Yeah.
Just throwing it around to the people. He threw so much money that their economy went bust.
Must do.
So Mansa Musa, he didn't seem to value money in the sense that we want to value money.
But
It was a resource and he was generous with it.
what country is he from?
Do you know, I don't know. I might be saying the name wrong, but even if
I know what you'd say.
Mansa Musa, he was the rich, even by today's standards, he would still be outriching the very, very, very wealthiest person in the 100 list. He would top them by several trillions, dillions, zillions even.
Well, I don't like to give my opinion, but you know why I can't get my head around that, what you're saying about Africa's not in charge of their resources? I beg to differ. in the world of what I call investment. If I'm a president of an African country, I mean, the way they say that they're not in charge is because they're like the Chinese going in Africa and buying up all buying up all these things, and it's like the people who run that particular country
allow it.
Right. So I'm saying the African governments then, right? And I look at it as investment, because if you come to a country, and you come in with bare talk, like if I come to Africa and say I used to be living in this country, I was an ancestor, you lot, and I was taken away as slavery. So with that kind of idea, going back to Africa with that kind of idea, I mean,
it's not useful.
No, because if you were in charge of a country and you got a bunch of people coming in talking about, I used to live here, and I was taken out here by forceful means, and I'm just coming with that. You shouldn't be selling that. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be giving your resources to white man. You see what I'm saying? And they come, and then the Chinese come, and they come with a lot of wonga. They've come with a lot of money. You see what I'm saying?
Look,
so
there we have another cliche right there and then in our faces. Beware of those bearing gifts.
Oh man, we can't live by cliches, man. I mean, the reality is different.
Seriously speaking, the cliche is there in your face. Okay, if I come offering you something, some people, not everybody's going to say, "Oh, thank you very much. Oh, no one's ever done this for me before. Thank you, thank you, thank you." Instead of saying, "Okay, I see what you're offering. What's in it for me?"
But do you remember Panky? You remember what Panky said
when
they came bearing gifts?
There's a scene in there that's been cut out where Panky, he wasn't, although he was obviously clearly a violent man because he killed enough people and he did a lot of stuff.
Well, I don't know about that. But go on.
He offered the European a kind of a deal, and he said to them, "Okay, how about you use this part?"
Panky said that.
There's a scene that's been cut out from the movie.
I never seen the movie.
Have you not seen Zulu?
No, but that's not Panky. They're not nothing to do with Panky. Zulu. If you're talking about the Zulus, it's a different story. I mean,
but there is a movie out with Pianki.
Right, okay. But maybe not the Pianki. Maybe somebody called Pianki. But if you're talking about the Zulu offering,
Pianki offered
Ethiopian.
them.
It was an Ethiopian, and somebody came with gifts, as you said.
He offered them before they went to war. He said, "Well, look, I'm ready to give you this part over here. You
That's
can
the
use
Zulu,
that."
isn't it? Zulu.
No, this is Pianki.
I don't know. Carry on anyway.
Pianki. This has been cut from the movie.
I've never seen.
You need to watch the movie. It's
called
edited.
Pianki.
I don't know if it's called Pianki, but I saw it on YouTube. It's a cut scene, and it says it was cut out of the movie itself. And he offered the European, "Have this piece of land here. We won't trouble you, and you won't trouble us. Yeah, how about that then?" He offered them a place. They said, "No, we want all of it."
Yeah, but looking why I mentioned Pianki was the fact that you said they come bearing gifts, and Pianki knew straight off and said, "You haven't." Said when the geezer came, is he a Syrian and one of them brothers there, mixed race brothers came. He said, "My lord," and he called them all the names, great, accolade and everything, and Pianki turned and said, "Listen, you haven't come with no gifts. You've come to spy my land out." He said, "Tell your leader, send him back. Say, look, you see this bow here, and feel it." He said, "When you can pull a bow with this strength, then you can talk. You've come to covet my land." So this idea of Africans being so docile,
naive,
they're going to come with the trinkets. This idea of a trinket thing.
But you know something?
You know what I mean? I don't believe that.
History teaches us nothing except that we'll do it again.
Nah, I can't believe Africans so naive,
look at the Indians. Same stuff, different day, same toilet, same stuff. Okay, if you don't have any natural threats, you see something different, you're not threatened by it. You've conquered everything right here. Okay, you conquered it. It's yours, you know it inside out, upside down, every which way but loose. You don't have any natural threats on your turf then. Okay? And something different, something unique comes to wherever you are, you're not afraid of it. You don't treat it with derision and suspicion because this is my home. Let's see what's coming.
But surely, though,
There's
but when we were ruling, right, we ruled for a very long time, and everybody looked to Africa as a breadbasket of the world, right? They came to Africa when they were hungry. The so-called Hebrews, who were like
many ones
came
have
to Africa
come
because they're
and
starving
gone.
with a begging bowl, and so and you're telling me that these Africans who were so clever, who made pyramids and stuff like that, who gave the world all these disciplines, never had any intuition that these people come to rob them.
Intuition is
I don't
great.
believe that for
Intuition's
1 minute,
amazing, but remember, let's go back to the earlier comment, the primordial urge. Never forget that.
I don't know.
The primordial urge of an individual may be that we don't only want to have your resources, we want to make you into services of our
and they just
needs and
stooped
wants.
down and did it, yeah? Lied over and...
Come on.
You know, man.
Come on, you know when someone's telling you a really good sob story? I don't have a penny to my name. You see them outside on the street,
yeah.
And we are selective about who we give or
That's
do
right.
not give to. So that's what. Do you hear that? You may give on this occasion to this person. Maybe they just said, "Oh, please, can I have £1? I need something to eat," and you may give them. And other times, that same person will come back to you, and you won't give them.
Because I've had instinct. But if you're saying that the person the way you're bringing it over, Africans will give all the time. You know what I mean? Every time somebody comes, they're going to keep...
And then someone will go to someone in charge and say, you know what? They said that they can give us something that we've never had before. Curiosity also kills the cat. Cliche. They become cliches for a reason. You know what? I'm curious. Remember Professor Frimpong?
Yes.
Who said that the swimmers came and they were just looking at him
yeah.
I hadn't seen that kind of fish before.
Yeah, they call them swimmers. They didn't call them white people.
No, they call them swimmers.
Yes.
The swimmers were swimming into land. They weren't like, oh, that's a shark, let's kill it. They were like, what kind of...
They knew they were human beings. They knew that they were humans.
Yeah, but it's still, it's a different kind of one.
Yeah, but they had albinos. They had albinos in their presence.
So they recognise the type.
They know that these are the children of albinos.
Yeah, so...
They knew straight off.
But they weren't aware that they were coming to conquer, kill and wreak havoc on their peaceful idyll, if ever it was such a thing anyway. It wasn't like that.
Yeah, but
they were not hostile to them.
But Panky, who was an Ethiopian king, couldn't be fooled.
No, but he was not. He
knew that they'd come to spy out. He said, "You come with gifts. Yeah, you haven't come to praise me. You come to teeth my land." And I think this is what all Africans in charge of their land.
Yes, but you
should
can be in
have
charge
said.
of the land, but not in charge of your faculties.
Oh, well, this is kind of hard to swallow. You're telling me that these people are so naive. This is what I'm saying.
Come on,
Africans
really?
are naive, yeah?
No. Primordial urges.
Oh man,
are real. They're not just things that we talk about intellectually.
Well, let's see how many people agree with you. Then agree with you. I believe that I don't give that the Africans are not in charge of their resources. I don't believe that for 1 minute.
Not even this country's in charge of some of its resources.
Well, I know what goes on in this country.
No,
we know that. But what I'm saying is, no one's going to come to this country.
There was a secret treaties between one of the kings and the Pope. Under duress, this king was made to sign over this country to the Pope, who declared himself God on earth.
So we're talking about the fickleness or the naivety of humans here.
I said under duress. He did not want to.
He was forced to?
Yes, and he did. But nobody, all the peasants and the...
So it was the class rule then thing.
Knew about this secret treatise, which was made in 1213.
Is it, what do you call it? Is it, what do you call it?
Was it Richard or one of them?
In the, I forgot the name of the treatise.
The Magna Carta.
Magna Carta.
The beginning of the Magna Carta.
So it was the upper class, the elite, that actually well, I can understand that if you're talking about the elite.
Well, who do you
rather
think,
than naivety. I don't
who
think.
do you
I don't
think runs the world? And
Right.
if a man can get a little bit of this elitedness that is so desirable, all right, there are things they won't do. It's just like the love of money. It's not money because money can't do anything. Okay, money does nada.
I know the thing, innit?
Okay? But for the love of money.
I can understand that. It's a
No,
better
but look-
explanation than to say that they were naive.
So it could be
You see what I'm
money,
saying?
it could be power, it could be to get that woman or this man or to get that thing over this person, revenge, envy, jealousy, all different kind of primordial urges. They're all there. That's how we act out the on the stage, isn't it?
Yeah. So in the case of giving away resources, then that Africa is doing this, right? Which I don't really buy. So I want to see if anyone else agrees with that point or can put a bit more explanation on the point. If you can, numbers are
07931
27 62
and 32.
Yeah, bring you into studios. Is Africans naive? Are they really naive? I mean, are they not in control of their resources? None of the 54 countries, 54 states.
Libya. Remember when Gaddafi tried to get some control? Gaddafi, a couple of years back. He owned how much percent of the world's gold?
Oil is that gold?
Gold.
Oh, yeah.
He owned, I think it's something like 41% of the world's gold. 41% of the global resource known as gold. He owned it. And he got that much and turned around and said, I don't want to trade in your paper pieces. You want something from me, I want gold. And it better be bullion. It better be proper. And when they realised that, what happened to Gaddafi? They say he was a terrorist, they say he was this, and they say he was that. But we know, when you want to harm someone, what's the first thing you go for?
The economy.
No.
What?
Ethos, pathos, logos.
Okay, well, let's see, because it's a different story from what we told about Africans giving it away, and not in control. If it's the elite that runs the country, obviously they're in a club, yeah? So it's not so much the people are naive, than they've been sold out by the elite. I can understand that's more better explanation than the one that people try to push that.
Yeah, but making the elite special people is like...
But they are.
Not such, then why are they special?
Because they got the wealth, they got the so much wealth.
Listen.
You see what I'm saying to you?
The person that's special is the one that does not need to defecate and pee. You're special. And I mean, still be upstanding after a month, eating food, drinking, doing the normal stuff. You're special to me. Everybody else, we do the same things. We must. It's a must.
That is all well and good in theory. But in practicality or in reality, the rules are different. It's the those who have the haves and the haves not. It's a fact. And the gap between
what do they
rich
have?
and poor, the gap between rich and poor is widening.
That's on an economic and social level.
Right, and that's where it matters.
And
economy, money. I mean, if we don't, if you look at the state, the way societies are run, we say, well, the society's problems are the problems of the rich, in reality, and they make the poor dependent on them giving out handouts, and to keep. It's only when the masses become sick and tired, or the low class becomes, or the peasant class decides to revolt. And I'm thinking, well, that's more sensible. Things will carry on until they decide, like France, to have a revolution.
Robespierre.
And look what happened to them. They killed, literally, I'm talking about killing the whole party.
Yes, they pushed down the gates and they assassinated
every
the royal
last
family.
one of them.
And guess what? The story doesn't end there, does it? They became them.
Exactly. They became the rich, innit?
They became them.
There's an irony, innit? So there's somewhere in there, there's a law. You see what I'm saying?
They became them. It's today for me and tomorrow for you.
So, all right.
Cliche. So it's cliche. So it's all good.
Cliche.
It's about, are you going to endure it until the end, or are you going to do things to get there faster?
Okay. What I want to know now is this. How much better are these, for instance, diasporans here in the UK who claim to be helping Africa. Because you hear a lot of it, in any case, not coming from Oxfam, or coming from a European. I'm not talking about those ones. It's like a double whammy. Because we've got within our own communities the same sort of idea. Africa is needy, and they're keeping it alive. It's not the Europeans that are keeping that image of a continent that's so huge, and it's still impoverished. It's these diasporans here in the UK that are keeping that alive as well. They are going to countries, building schools. You see what I'm trying to say to you? I know a lot of them go over there, instead of trying to change the image of Africa from away from this needy continent, which is not. Because there's some African countries that are bloody rich.
Yeah,
and they
quite
used
a few.
Abu Dhabi.
Yet still, Abu Dhabi.
Have you seen that picture of even Nigeria and Ghana's cities?
But that's the cities.
It's
It's still developing.
But they've got more in it than this country here.
Of course they do,
Right.
because it's a massive country, because they've made...
Thank you.
Greetings to Sister Olive if she's listening.
Yes. And plus, also greetings to Stephen. If you're
Sister
listening.
Olive sent me a video of some of the resources. That must be a text.
Yes, text,
That has unbelievably, amazingly wonderful things over there. But then again,
Yes.
you've got to ask yourself, why is there a drive for us not to go and see for ourselves or know for ourselves?
I don't think there's such a
Why
drive.
there is.
I don't think so.
What's shown on TV? Shanty towns, murder, rape, pillage,
But aren't
kill.
Don't we have enough sense for ourselves? Because I mean, I've seen that all the time, but I don't fall for that and think, oh, I don't want to go to Africa. You see what I'm saying?
But Heru, have you been?
But no, doesn't mean it's a lifestyle choice for me. It's my choosing if I want to go.
And
Nobody's stopping me.
That is fully respected.
You
But what I'm
see?
saying is, we're all image conscious. We've got a box that tells us what to think.
Right. That's why I come to my
We
point.
have the media which tells us what to think.
I don't, but do we though?
We choose to allow that
are
to
you like
intrude.
that?
Me?
Yeah. Why?
No.
Why? See, you're not like that.
No.
So it doesn't work for everybody then, does it? It doesn't work for everybody. This idea. Then when we say that we're media controlled, we're not really. Only those little what you call those little we call weak and impotent minds.
You can't be that kind of like.
Yes.
I don't think.
believe. Weak and impotent thinking. You don't
Yeah,
affect.
I would say
It doesn't affect you. You're not fooled by it.
I choose. I
Aye.
exercise my will to discriminate.
So
and to
doesn't
choose.
anyone else do that?
Well, maybe and maybe not. That's not for me to judge,
Well,
or you to judge.
Well,
that
it
is
because you're saying that if you're making a case that the media is actually winning these minds over because and it's not winning you over, that's actually saying that you are different from the rest.
But then,
You see what I'm saying?
then having travelled, been to France,
You've been to Africa, no?
not yet.
Okay.
Been to France.
Why do you ask? Why do
Been
we
to
keep
Spain.
asking that? You've been to Africa, like it's a big thing.
Been to Spain. I've been to parts of Europe, and I've been to the Caribbean, and I've been to America. So for me, my horizons are very broad. I realise that everything's not confined to what I see on the TV.
But I'm sure there's a lot of other people like yourself.
More and more.
Right. So that gives the myth for the idea that the media is controlling everybody.
That's
it's only for the
that
weak.
is a choice-based activity.
Right.
Okay, to be influenced by what you see on a box.
Right. Thank you. So it's a choice.
It's a choice-based
We've
activity.
all got will.
Well, we have,
Yes.
we've got discrimination.
Right.
We can discriminate.
And you can't fool
we know
all of
that
the people
all the
of the
time.
You can
Only
fool
some of the people.
Some of the people. So it's these ones what we call
Cliche again. You say, look, you can't escape them because they're ruling and governing our lives.
These bloody cliches. I'm sick and tired of them. You know what I mean? But in any case, what I'm saying to you is this: that when the African or the Oxfam people, right, decide to keep Africa. Yeah, the Africans that are. I'm still waiting for the prophet to come. Still, he should be here shortly. Hopefully, D-Ron might bring him. That these Africans are the idea. So the argument for me,
Yet
the
still-
Lenchi. You know what the Lenchi is for me? The Lenchi's arguing on the wrong point. We shouldn't be arguing on whether how much aid Africa gets, right? We should be arguing if Africa why is Africa the most needy place on the planet. Yet it is the most richest in resources. That's what I'm saying. I think there's a ploy. I think even those organisations today who claim that they're going back to Africa keeps this image alive. We spoke about Abu Dhabi,
yeah.
and how, and even Nigeria, Ghana,
and also
and Dubai, and yet, from Texas coming through. Yet we have people here who want to keep the image of a needy continent alive, especially those diasporan group who say they go to Africa to build school. Now, Africa's got schools already, mate. You see what I'm saying?
Maybe
what if these people like to live in the bush, right? You got some people
that live
so
in
really.
nature.
So what we're trying to say, really, we're not talking about the whole of the African continent being
poor.
You know, and pauperized.
Yeah, but
we're talking about people.
Yeah, that has to be defined, because your idea of being poor is different from my idea of being poor.
Yeah, but those ones we're talking about, what we go and see them no clothes and walk, you know what I mean? Do you
know something? Personally,
you like to wear no clothes.
There is nothing more beautiful than the human form in its natural state.
Yeah, okay, fine. But what I'm saying to you is, right,
and I don't mean that on a sexual level.
No,
either.
not on a perverted level. Yeah, I understand.
Purely
exactly
on a matter of how amazing the Creator did this.
Yeah,
look at that in all of its glory.
Right, because
my mum says, I am awesomely made.
Yes. Yes,
and that is actually a quote from the Bible.
I can see that, and it's lovely. It's all nice.
It's so poetic and beautiful.
Of course,
in this where we are now,
the environment.
The very fact that we've had to cover and hide, been made to feel that it has to look like this and it has to be this, and if it doesn't do that, it's got no business being natural.
But what's the most sexiest thing a man can see in a woman is when she's sexiest. Yes,
I don't know, I'm not a man.
No, I'm telling you what it is for a man.
Okay.
It's when a woman's half clad, not when she's completely nude.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying to you? So the psychology behind that. Well, this is European ideology.
This is exactly
European.
my point.
It's not every human.
The very fact that we are talking about Africa, when many Africans don't see themselves no, hold on. They don't even see themselves as Africans. They see themselves as from a region or a point, like Nigeria. Nigerians don't like being called Africans. They accept it because it's like rolling the eyes and thinking, what do you really know?
Yes, exactly. And I can see with that point.
And, you go
although there's no such thing as Nigeria, if you know what I'm saying, because it's Lady Lugard. And so
it's the Niger region.
Right, it's the...
And within that, you have many different cultures and tribes and beliefs. And
walking about half naked. But those are the ones that live in the rural areas.
And what's wrong with rural?
Fine. But if you don't want to catch up with those advanced blacks...
Who says that those ones are advanced?
They are, because they're living in houses.
Hold on. What makes living in a
Cities.
house... Hold on. Are you saying to me that these people in Oxfam that went all the way to IT, whose houses were blown away, knocked off by tsunami, are you saying that they're more civilized than those people because they lived in houses, yet they were sexualizing them, putting them into brothels? So what is this perception of... What is this perception of what is...
This is where the deception comes in.
What is it?
The Oxfam is there as like an international rescue, like a Thunderbirds thing.
No, I don't think
which is like organizations, they becoming the same thing, doing the same thing, becoming international rescue, right? You love these little, what do you call it, fringe groups that want to go back to Africa to build schools, right? Keeping up that same impoverished image. There's nothing wrong in helping out people who want to live less advanced, because then see, there's a flashpoint. Going to a flashpoint is different. Going to a disaster is different.
Of course.
Than just deciding I'm going to help the poor in Africa, like there's only poor in Africa and there's nowhere else on the planet.
Do you know something?
You see what I'm saying to you?
That might be a hope and a desire and a very, very what's that word? That's a very, very doesn't matter. That's a very good thing to have in mind.
What, to help that? Wait, there's a name for that. Being I forgot the name for it. Yes, we can be that way.
We can be that way.
We can be that way, and we're going to be,
generous and loving
and
kind
you know what I mean,
and
all
benevolent and
it's all of that.
all
right?
of that.
But
we're sounding a little bit sarcastic.
But we have
sure.
to be sarcastic about this because you know why? Because the imagery, the reality is like this. They keep painting this Africa as a pauperized place. You see what I mean? And it's rich. And some of the places that we can see in Africa that's developed proper, and the ones who don't want to, because don't forget, you have 54 country states.
And how many million people?
In a union, in a
Yeah.
representative body called the AU, who, if they really cared about, and I think on their part, the way I understand them is probably they're saying, we don't want to prop up people who don't want to advance beyond a mud hut or live in a kind of a no light. Because Prophet said there are people that don't have no electricity whatsoever. And
do you know what? I'm trying to find the negatives in that.
That's no negative, but I'm not trying to find a negative in there. What I'm saying to you, there's people who like to live like that.
Okay.
Right? And it's these people that these Oxfam are geared around, that living in them areas, they don't have dentists, they don't have nothing like that. And that's not representative of Africa at all.
Yeah.
Why don't they? I mean, if the AU were that keen, they would do what Oxfam do.
Oh, and they obviously can because.
But they're not doing it.
Yes, but they're again because they've become like the very thing itself.
Not really, because I think personally they're not trying to prop up an advance. I think they're trying to say, well, listen, when you come along with us, then come part of us, bruv. Why do you want to? You know what I mean? I think that's relevant. That's very relevant.
That's a lovely idea.
No.
And
yes.
what was it you would say about the deeply rooted structure?
Yes. Yeah.
Of culture.
The surface and structure. Deep structure and surface of culture.
Deep structure, and they might be looking at you saying, "Look at you with all your advancements.
That's right.
Your lovely clothes,
And yes.
your beautiful electricity, your laptops,
Yes.
your handheld devices,
but you're nothing really.
Your sophisticated dressing, and all of this, your shoes and what have you."
But we've got to advance, though. You see, this is what we don't realise.
But that depends on your idea of
what
what advancement is.
But I mean, okay, let's look at it this way.
My idea
Having
of
multi-storied
advancement,
buildings, like you see what I'm saying?
my idea of advancement would be
What?
to live in a mud hut.
Really? That's
have,
only because you lived in a society that doesn't. You never lived in one.
Hold on. No, because you know something. On occasion, I have been known to go to the park, take off my shoes,
Yes.
and just let my body
Yes.
be connected to the earth because we've lost the contact with the earth.
That's understandable. Yes, I can understand that
So
point.
for me, I'm
But-
not saying I'd like to do it indefinitely. Listen.
Is it?
Yeah, but I'm being truthful here.
Yeah, you're
I'm
just longing
saying
for a little bit of it.
I'm longing for this connection with nature, wholly and totally, where there is no electric currents buzzing in my ear, where there is no radiation, where there is no chemtrail, where there is no. I long for this.
Hold on. So you would prefer a
connection.
wholesome cart? You know what I used to look at, right? In London, in England, in history, it used to take about 2 weeks to go to Birmingham. You know.
Yes, that is
right?
very true.
And they used to have the horse. That's where they get the horsepower from in the cars. Because they used to have. It took you about 2 weeks to go to Birmingham on a donkey or something like that. You used to rest off.
Faster is not necessarily better.
Yeah, but you know what? I agree, because now that we can go to Birmingham in about a couple of hours.
Yeah.
If a man was going to kill somebody in Birmingham, he wouldn't have no time to think about it. He's going to go there. He's all geared up. He's like,
Your schizophrenia showing.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
Put
what
it
that?
back. Come on now. Put it back in.
Well, you're never alone with schizophrenia.
Well, we can see this.
You know what I mean? But I know we don't want to make a mockery of that. We know it's a serious thing. But hear what now? The man that can reach Birmingham, if a man going to kill somebody in Birmingham, say, and he got a phone call, right? You know, he was right, and he can jump in his BMW.
Advertising for them now.
Well, what so? He can jump in his fast car, pedal to the metal. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And you can be there in less than an hour and a half, and he's still hot with the gun, pull out and bang. But he's on a donkey. Right.
He'd have time to consider.
And by the time you might
Reconsider.
Just say,
By the time he stopped off and,
and
bedded a few wenches and fought a few jewels and indulged in plenty of grog, ale and wine, women and song, he might
know what?
I can't be bothered
Forget
in that.
You know what I mean? A turn around. Let's go back home.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
so it's the journey. It's the journey.
So I can understand it on that level when you can say that. I mean, sometimes advancement is not good. But you can imagine, though, if we didn't move away from mud huts and grass skirts.
That's an assumption that we always lived that way.
We're not grass.
That's what we're told. Hold on. That's what we've been told how things was.
Because they had wrappings. They were never like that. They advanced from that level though to having kinty cloths.
Yes,
you see.
But that's in one particular culture.
So if they didn't move away to that, where they were wearing
some cultures have moved to females
and
dressing one way and males dressing another way, and now it's probably there's a lot of regression and a lot of advancements going on. In a magazine, I saw a man in a dress.
Pardon?
Yes. I saw a man in a dress. See, now you're going all funny.
No, but I've seen that on the thing.
No, but hold on before. Hold on.
Don't
in some
tell me
cultures,
about gender fluid, please.
No, I wasn't even going near that.
It sounds like it.
Sometimes, when the Arab men and the Muslim men wear that flowing kind of
dress
thing.
Like it's not a dress though.
I didn't say it was a dress.
You say you saw a man in a dress. You said
in a magazine.
A proper woman's dress.
European magazine. It was
proper,
quite. It was quite stylish, and he wasn't trying to be a female. He had hair, a chest, and a beard.
Now, why is he wearing a woman? No, see, this is what I'm saying to you.
No, because you have this concept of how it should be. It's not just.
No, you're coming along.
And hold on a second. No,
thing,
not at all. Not at all. That's not about gender fluidity.
So they're trying to change it now. They're trying to teach our children that there's no distinction between the woman and the man.
I'm not talking about gender fluidity, because this man was not trying to be female.
Why was he wearing a dress then?
It was a fashion statement.
What, a proper skirt like?
Yeah, rather nice.
I know the Scots wear skirts.
They wear kilts.
Kilts, but it's not a skirt though. It's a kilt.
It's a kilt.
And it's a man thing.
It's a man thing.
Right. So I can understand the Scots, but when you come to like British, Europeans, if they wear a skirt, it's a skirt, mate. You know what I mean? There's no significance. It's a bloody skirt, and you don't know it's a skirt. And because we've been, you might say, well, we've been trained to
we've been socialised into that distinction.
Which is not wrong. Because if we can't know the difference, because sometime on the street, I don't know the difference between a man and a, it's frightening for me. It's horrible.
Why is it frightening?
It's horrible.
You should rely on good old South.
No, mate. Listen.
Rely on South, or are you saying that? Anyway, let's go. Let's not go there. No,
we can. People can indulge if they want to, but we're just trying to make a point here. What the point we're trying to make is, if we lose the distinction between what represents a male and what represents woman, nowadays we're going to be in deep doo-doo, because now our youths, and we never grow that way. You know, when we grew. When I used to look after my brothers and sisters when they came from hospital, I know pink was for girls.
And look,
and there's some
traditionally, pink is for boys.
Traditionally
in
what
we loosely called Africa, in many cultures, pink was for boys and blue was for girls.
Really?
Blue is the spiritual color.
Right.
And pink is for the heart.
Right.
The courage,
that.
the valor. Just because it's been changed by particular standards.
Yeah, but we know we're talking about where we live in. Where we live in here, we know. We're not. I mean, we can always reminisce and look back at what it really should be. But where we live in, where we grew here.
This is Heru speaking in a pink tennis shirt.
Colour. But
a pink.
But to me,
a salmony pinky
but to me,
shirt.
Salmon. But then for me. It doesn't represent no gay thing.
Well, neither
for me either. You're right. So to me, it's because I know that I'm a man. Last time.
Really?
Last time I looked.
You're sure now?
Yeah, damn.
Sure
about that.
Sure, you're sure.
And I don't want. And from all my life, I've been seeing distinction between. There's nothing wrong with that, because that's celebrating who you are, isn't it? If I celebrate, I'm a man. I have a colour to celebrate manhood. Fine. Well and good. If you're a woman and you celebrate your woman, your femininity with a specific colour that recognises that. That's all well. That's lovely too. But when you can't make it out, when you're doing it for reasons,
you just have to rely on
No
different
way.
perceptual
No. Sorry.
apparatus. That's what will have to happen. We'll have to use different perceptual apparatus
to recognise.
Seriously speaking.
You know, there's geezer birds. You ever seen
What?
these geezer birds? I see one last night on that
What is
program.
a geezer bird?
I'll show you what a geezer bird is. There is a program, this competition. It's got loads of texts here, but I'll give you the reading in a minute. There's a competition where, men are pitted against women as well, right? This new competition with that black presenter. I was watching it yesterday. I was watching it yesterday. I know probably don't do TV, but I was kind of think this is a woman. She's a rugby player. And my God, you're live on Genesis. Yeah, live on Genesis.
Oh, just a quick point.
Yeah.
When you talk about dressing and
go on.
In Africa and in most of the other countries, women, they're not allowed to wear, for example, shorts, or when they ride a bike, when they go out. But when you look at it in England, they are allowed to.
Okay.
Men and women in Africa, apparently, they're not allowed to ride with shorts. They're not encouraged to. Yeah. In Turkey, you see the same thing. There's some secular states where women cannot wear shorts. But here, when I look at it, when I own bikes in the summer, when it comes up, women and bikes in the summer, I just get turned on, so I don't want to go too much. So that's a quick point.
Okay.
I'm going.
Nice one.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Peace. Bye.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you for that bird track.
Now look,
Yeah,
this is where things can get really complicated.
Yeah.
I remember a few summers ago, I was in denim, jeans, all the way down to the ankle,
I thought it was a place called
and
Denim.
boots,
Yeah.
and a denim shirt with a t-shirt underneath, long sleeve denim shirt, and I was in a shop. There were lots of girls that were virtually naked, we could say. They were enjoying the vitamin D, because that's how you're supposed to enjoy vitamin D, okay? We don't get much of it here, so when it's out there, yes, you're supposed to strip off and go out and lie down in the sun, because we need it, okay? That's one point. I was in the shop. There were many and many females that were out there on this beautiful, hot day that were virtually next to naked. And a man chose to come and perv on me. So this idea
Why'd you call it perv?
Because I bent down to look at something and he chose to rub his genitalia against my rear genitalia, we say.
Wow.
In the middle of a well-known store
Well.
in sunny Pecknam.
Yeah.
I was beside myself because I was like,
You
these
felt violated.
I was like, no, because I may have bent down inappropriately.
Not knowing what unconscious to you.
Well, I didn't see it as inappropriate. I was just bending over to look at an item. Okay, but I'm saying that with all the women that were in next to nothing.
Yeah, he chose you.
Fully clothed. You could just see my hands and just my collarbone. That was all that was exposed. So this idea that someone who is of that nature is going to choose a specific is nonsense. I've been out in a short skirt and, looking good, and men have touched me inappropriately as well too. I'm just saying that there is no reason or rhyme to the ideas of what we really think. We just think it, and our experiences and the culture and the education
But that
and
brother
the
that done that
ideology.
could be a pervert, because there are people.
That's
that
what
are
I said. He's
perverted.
he was,
We live with people like that. You know that.
and to say the brother was black as well
It
too.
doesn't matter. I mean,
This is what I'm saying to you. You can't. He bypassed all these women in the shop, outside of the shop, all over the place,
he was sick.
and he chose me.
Yeah, you were sick in it. I mean, to me, if I saw you person doing that, I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean?
But what I'm saying,
But,
if it's a case of it's about nakedness, it's not.
No, I know, but that's why I said to you that it's half clad is more attractable to some men, being hard. When
And
a
yet,
woman is
fully clad.
There
I was I could have passed for a person who is not interested in men the way I was dressed. Do you see what I'm saying? It
Well,
wasn't like I
you
was.
didn't have the hairstyle, you see, because there's a signal, special signal. I know some of these gender fluid or transgender or
Oh, you know.
yeah, because I know them. See them, you know. You
wouldn't
educate
know.
yourself on them, don't you? You know what I mean? You do.
No.
You got to know.
No, why?
Come on. Because you know these things go on.
Yes,
in
but
society. So you want to know.
I'm going to deal with my experience and not what someone's telling me to think about
Doesn't matter.
it.
You got to know. Because to me, you got to you can inform your children. Say, look, you see, them people there with the side cut and the little earring thing. They're making a statement. They're making a statement, and when you see them like that, 9 times out of 10, they're butch. You see what I'm saying to you? And they're making a statement, and they're not afraid to make a statement to signal to those who are like that themselves. So there's nothing wrong in educating yourself.
I have to take exception.
Why?
Because you know where I live, right? Because we did not live very far away from each other.
Right, yeah.
And downstairs were 2 of that L.
Yeah,
lived below me.
Is it?
Yeah. One of them had long hair, right? One of them was dual heritage, and had long hair as well too. Mm-hmm. And yet they were that. So this perception of what it's like is nonsense.
But you knew by looking at them they were that.
No.
Well, I did when I see them.
No, I didn't. I don't care.
They carry themselves away.
I seriously do not care.
Like homosexuals carry themselves away too. You know, I seen. You know what I saw on the net the other day? About 4 brothers, right? Proper tattooed brothers. You know, I don't know if you saw that. I got it on my WhatsApp. 3 of them, what you'd call hip hop type of. That's my hip hop type of brothers with all the tattoo and thing. Big butch, you look like the gangster thing. Then they were all filmed together. So they start kissing up each other. You know, proper French kissing each other. I'm thinking, he said, he's making a rap out of it. I'm thinking, but looking at them, you would think that they were like.
Your perceptual apparatus needs to be tuned.
No, they're taking advantage of my perceptual apparatus. What they're changing the goalposts now on what used to be recognizable as male tattoo and butt and big, hench. You see what I'm saying? These hench people start kissing up each other, proper kiss, and it made me feel ill.
Why?
Well, see, I don't understand when you ask why.
Why did it make you feel ill?
Because it's. What would it make you ill?
Were the visions of them French kissing you?
No.
So what's the problem?
No, because you don't see those.
Where is the problem then?
The problem is we know it's woman.
I would see that as a problem if that was happening to you and you took exception to it. I'm not going to look at it if that's what they want to do with themselves, with each other, and broadcast it. Because I really don't care.
But you may not care. But there's other people who do want to be made aware of these things. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong in.
That's a call, isn't it?
No, it's text going off here. There's nothing wrong in being. We'll read the text out in a minute. There's nothing wrong in educating yourself as to. Because you need to know these people. Because you're moving amongst other. There's nothing wrong with that.
Do you know something?
You need to be educated.
In real life, I've been amongst them.
Yes, I educate myself all the time.
They take all different forms and types.
And you want to know.
You want to know?
I want to know.
Put it this way.
You see me answer?
There are ones who are feminine, there are ones who are masculine, and there's ones who bat for both sides.
And I can intuit them.
Right, so why is it a problem?
No, it's a problem to me because I can intuit them. Because naturally, natured, you're not like that.
Haven't been propositioned by one.
Oh, you?
Yeah, few.
You see?
For me, I didn't kind of like throw my toys out.
I wouldn't give them the time of day.
But I didn't know they were that way inclined until they made it clear.
Well,
and then I said, no, thank you.
Well, I've got this knack, you see, that for a long time that makes me aware. You see, it's not like being like you don't know, you go in there, you don't know. I must know what's happening in the world. I've got to because I'm intuitive. You understand what I'm saying to me? And my spirit said to me, see that bird over there? Be careful. You know what I mean? Because some of them...
Be careful of what?
Because
there's going to be 2 ways that the thing would go down. One is that they're going to forcibly impose themselves on me, or the other is they're going to make a suggestion.
I don't even want a suggestion made to me. I don't even want you to chat to me.
To which I will say no.
No.
Do you know something?
I don't want you to chat to me.
Listen,
don't converse with me.
Listen.
You know, you sit over there.
Hold on a second.
Do your thing.
Hold on a second.
Allow me. Don't come in my space.
Hold the
You see what I'm
phone.
saying?
Hold the mic a moment.
Yeah.
I know that you know many within our community with whom we mixed and have mixed and been around.
Oh, yeah. Yo, I tell you.
So please.
No, but yes. But
please,
but
you notice
I was the one that told
change,
you.
change. And I didn't.
You didn't know, but I knew.
And what? I didn't care.
But I cared.
It was not it's not problematic.
Because you know why now?
And
when I see the individual,
and
I don't have anything to do with it.
And who else?
Loads of them.
Right.
But I knew. I marked them. I don't flex with them.
Right.
But you can't flex with
me. But then I wasn't flexing.
This is why there's some organisation there. I know some organisations have these people, right, in their organisation in places of importance, you see, and then the organisation claims to be anti this and anti that, and yet right in the midst of their organisation, they're introducing these people to you. So they're making it.
Hold on.
Because you know why
they've been there from time.
But you know why it's so important now? Because there's another law just passed the other day, in it, where they were going to teach our children at the age of 3. Did you read about that last week?
Do not do news.
And well, last week, and the government changed their mind. There was actually a partition going.
A petition?
Yeah, even I've got it on my WhatsApp actually, where the partition, the government changed their mind in teaching our children at the age of 3 homosexuality and anal penetration.
Okay.
You see, this is why it's important to me. So,
but that's a conversation for the parent to have with the children.
No, but that's what I said. They were saying that the parents had no right in it, and they would be forced on them. So the parents, they were up in arms, mate. Let me see if I can find it. They were up in arms.
This would be my choice. My choice would be to withdraw my child from that type of system of education.
You wouldn't have the right to.
Listen, I'm not talking about the class. I said the system of education.
Okay, you mean homeschool?
Home education is out there.
Yeah, that's cool. I understand. Yeah. Which is all well and good. This is why. But the right, what they're trying to say, you don't have any right to decide for your children what education or what's being taught, what sex education that they have. And this is what we found. This is what the people then found repulsive. And there was a petition going on in if I can find it on WhatsApp that was saying that please sign this thing. Don't let let me see if I can find it here. And they were crying out, begging you to sign it, right? Because and then it came about that they were they changed their mind. Right, they no longer was gonna. Here is it? This was sent by someone. Let's see. I'm checking if I got it here. Okay.
Do you know what worries me more than that? What worries me is my children and those that have chosen to be a different.
Look. Here you go. This one says, "Good day. Please remember that the deadline for the public consultation on the plans to introduce homosexuality, same-sex marriage, and transgenderism, transsexuality into the curriculum of primary and secondary schools is next Monday, 12th of February. That's gone in it.
No, that's tomorrow.
Oh,
it's
next month.
11 today.
It's 11. Okay, yes. You see, the deadline. 12th of February. Please do not keep silent and also share with friends and family of other faiths, especially Muslim. You need to complete 2 stages in order to do this successfully. 1, follow the very useful guidance provided by the Coalition for Marriage and the Christian Institution, both attached. So there's attachment there. 2, complete the questionnaire. Complete the questions here. right? And that's what you got to do. But I then read on another thingy that the government have changed their mind now because of that. You see what I'm saying? And they were quite happy. That the government had decided not to go ahead with this thing. You see, and that's good. That's very good. So because they were upset that they didn't have a choice in the matter, that the children were forced, they're going to do it anyway, regardless. So if your child is a member of a school, and as you said, the way to avoid that is to take them out of mainstream education. And stuff like that. We know that. That's good. But for those who can't do that, they're going to be subject.
Excuse me, but there is no can't when you choose to bring young minds into the world. You may choose not to, but there isn't a can't.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, it's not called mainstream for nothing. Let me read the text.
Hold on. What do you say? Do you know what to do? Because this is a funny thing,
Yeah, I've seen this before.
Yeah. But it's out of date and all that. Someone said the station's quiet.
Oh, is it?
I don't know if it is quiet, but Bertrack rang and said it was okay. Maybe that's before we sorted it.
That's the 3rd of February.
Okay, but that's not proper dated though.
Is it not?
No. You see what I'm saying to you?
Well, it is.
Is it?
Yeah, 17th of January 2017.
Yeah, but the clock is not in order at the moment.
It is.
Is it? Okay, if you can find them, because there's quite a few texts there. Okay. Can you find them? The way to do it is come out of that and go back into the text thing, come out of the menu and go into, is that, yeah, see that, scroll it over to that thing and then click on it. And then do with the ones that's highlighted. You're on Tune to Genesis Radio on the People's Talk Show.
Okay.
And there's on the, we're talking about quite a few things. We're also discussing on the Oxfam things and the people that's actually
I heard what you said, Mr. Dennis. Watch your words with me,
What is it?
Watch it.
So
you're my friend, though.
Yeah, and we're talking about the Oxfam and the fact that we're covering a lot of ground here. But what more interaction from you? It seems like you're very quiet out there. Or you're just listening to me and Sister Dionne bantering. But we want your input as well. We need to know. One of the questions we asked was: is Africa as poor as it makes out, and why are we reinforcing the image African of poverty and even in some of these liberation groups that purport to be liberating, some of the little fringe groups that would get you. To me, they're doing exactly the same thing. This is one of the discussions that we want to put forth and want to see test out there. It's not only Oxfam that are continuing this image of poverty and then make themselves look like a international rescue around the world, rescuing people in disasters, which is good. I'm not wrong in that. People shouldn't help out in disasters, but when you get what's happening, like when you go to help somebody, and at the same time you turn around and take advantage of that person, that's wickedness. And I want to say that it's not only Oxfam's doing it, right? Not only Oxfam's responsible for these kind of actions. Because what is happening is also that we find within these our own communities that like also to keep Africa as looking impoverished. And my thing is, I don't believe Africa is as impoverished as some of these people make out to be, where they need things like schools and they need clean water when they have other states that have all of these things that they need. I don't think they're barred from some of these countries on the continent, like they're barred from Africa. Got banned from Nigeria, banned from going into all of these what's that called, developed countries, according to the modern industrialized nations that are advanced. And you have to look at it as advanced because they've moved away from a lot of things. I mean, if Africa remains in the shadows, so to speak. If
Sorry,
Africa,
I don't understand.
if you know you wouldn't, if Africa is in the still in the shadows, so to speak, and are unable to make any advancement towards the way things are, in terms of okay, and it says that that there is not that real reckoning. You see, I don't think that there is that happening in any case, in the cases of our people. I'll turn this down a bit up. That's it. That's when it comes down to being developed, or I don't know what you may deem as being developed. You may not even think that being developed is what they said it is, because you may not agree with the idea of driving in cars as a sign of advancement or whatever. You may have a different view on that. I don't know. But when it comes down to making realizing development, what is development, right? You have to really make a comparison, because the comparison is that they are not as advanced as other parts of Africa. They're not fully, So we have to know that they're making efforts to keep in line. Africa is already like that in any case. We don't all live in rural areas. So those that like to live in rural areas, they have a right to do that, but they shouldn't represent the whole of Africa. It's like they're always looking at the tail end of Africa all the time. Why do they always choose the tail end of Africa to highlight? This is the thing. This is where Oxfam and all these other charities make their money, innit? You're not going to get Oxfam begging, going into Nigeria and places like that, helping them out. I'm always making out that Africa needs a helping hand. My thing is, Africa doesn't need a helping hand, really, because it's only those parts of Africa which are not as developed as other parts of Africa that they go to in any case. And these little fringe groups here, they do the same thing. They're just as bad as Oxfam. I'm telling you, how many of them, these little fringe groups, called liberation groups, are only, now that the Oxfam has been exposed, they're sort of kind of frightening them in certain ways, because they're not unlike Oxfam. How many of these groups have gone down to Africa, right, and end up going to help and end up having families down there in any case? And there's a lot of them got land, even in the part where they're trying to help. They actually own land in there as well. See? So it's not just Oxfam or the idea of Oxfam being guilty of this. It's all around. A lot of those groups are guilty of all of this. You see, and they are just as guilty as Oxfam. And I'm trying to make that known, that it's because Oxfam decide to go to a particular country and to help in disasters, Haiti and all that thing, and then end up in dealing with brothels, and I don't know what they were doing, if they were putting people on the street, but it was something to do with prostitution and all that. They're all vulnerable, and it's an all round thing. A lot of groups today, I could name a lot of them that are doing the same thing, that claim that they're helping Africa, and then at the same time going and helping themselves to Africa itself. And have a vested interest in keeping Africa in a needy position. I don't want to see Africa in a needy position, because I don't think Africa is in a needy position. But the imagery that they try to portray, even these liberation groups today, are guilty of doing the same thing, as making Africa look like she's always needing help. And by talking about we're going down to this particular place, to build schools, to help with the curriculum. Why can't that be done by the AU? It must be a reason. And I said before, the reason I think that the AU won't indulge in charities like that is because they probably don't want to prop up that underdevelopment. See, by giving handouts, you're actually propping up the underdevelopment of countries. You see, rather than trying to deal with it and helping them to progress. You see what I'm saying? Rather than developing the countries or help with the technology, all these kind of things, and even in fact, why don't these countries that are underdeveloped in Africa go to their brethren and join in with the other developed part of Africa that doesn't need to build schools? Don't tell me that every one of the 54 countries in Africa needs help. Don't tell me that. This is the kind of image they're trying to tell me, that every last one of those countries are not in control of their resources. This is the image that the diasporan is giving us, and this is the rationalization for them themselves going into the countries and helping themselves in the same way Oxfam is helping themselves. You see what I'm saying to you? You see? So there's no difference. The advantage has been taken all the way, and I think it can be helped if we stop seeing Africa as a needy place. I think we have to build a different image of Africa. You see, as being not one that's been pauperized and need schools, need this, need that, need shoes. You see what I'm saying to you? This is where I come, you know, at odds with the whole concept of charity. Seriously, it's not, you know, it's good to be what's the name of that thing they call that? You know, when you're just charitable. You see what I'm saying? But the thing is, do we keep up this image of Africa as being needy, a big, massive continent like that? It don't make an ounce of sense. With so much riches, so much resources, and people are saying that Africa's given away. I've been saying this for a long time, you know. And you see, it come back around again, innit? They have been found out, these charities, these little groups that want to keep Africa impoverished. You know, becoming international rescue for every flashpoint in Africa, every little situation. Oh, let's go and give them a hand. That's not the image that Africa wants to be, and I think that's why the AU is not indulging in it, because they don't want to prop up people that don't want to develop. Because you've got to ask the question: the AU's got a lot of money. Why do they need other charities who want to make a living? They're trying to make a living off of the back of our misery. Most of these charities, it's noble to go in there and say, yes, I'm going to help one. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to say you don't help your fellow man. But in a country or on a continent that is so rich in minerals that the ones who chose to live, and usually ones, you look at the ones that are in need. It's not Nigeria. You don't hear Nigeria going out, or Ghana, going around with a begging bowl, do you? You know, they're quite developed in Ghana and Nigeria and the rest of them. Abu Dhabi, and the other one as well. Right? I've seen a lot of them. This is not the Africa that we want to see today. How long have we been given that impoverished image of Africa?
Yet still, there's
you
lots of the African community here are doing so much. It's only in our very limited sphere that we don't see things. They have BETV,
right?
And they have
Bollywood,
Nollywood.
Yes.
Yeah, they have so much going on.
Oh, and they've got music. You see some of the Afro beats.
So seriously speaking, they have come on leaps and
bounds. And why don't we celebrate this rather than keep? You see, I think some of these little diasporan groups in the UK, especially in the southeast side of things, Peckham to be exact, right, have this kind of notion, right, of keeping this impoverished image. They're just as guilty. They're not there to help Africa.
How do you know?
Because they want to be given money and giving old Brock. Africa don't need your old Brock. It's an insult to send these little shoes.
What's a Brock?
Brock is little second hand.
Do you mean English broke? Your old broke.
Yeah. What do you call the name for that, isn't it?
Rag and bones.
Rag and bones. You get me? You know, we don't want to go and dump all this crap in Africa all the time. All old phones that we don't want, kind of thing. You get me?
Yeah, because it's like,
You know,
do you know
dumping ground, like
if I needed
old
to,
fridges and
if a phone was needed to be loaned, I could understand that.
yeah. But you're giving
But
them
like,
you know, you're
what
giving
you-
them little
you're
black,
what left?
yeah, little Blackberries that they'll no
What left?
use.
Yeah, you know.
It's only got old computers that none use. You know, why are you making this Africa? The Africa, what's in the 23rd chapter of their imagination, right, is the one that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Africa's a rich place.
Let's take a break and read out some texts for a while. Who is this? 753 says the mic is low. There's a lot of static noise. Static's gone. Mic's too loud. There is a movie called Black Mirror. It is based on some of your info. There is a movie called Black Mirror. It's based on some of your. It's repeated.
Yeah. What's Black Mirror? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Mirror.
Way, they go on to say, it's wrong that gayness should not be in the open. It's nasty.
Yes, of course. And we have a moral.
Hang on,
right.
that's I don't understand.
What?
Either way, it's wrong that gayness should not be in the open. That was a missed call. I don't know if the phone's not working or something.
Yeah. Well, what's his name called through?
Should not be in the open. It's nasty, and our bottom is made for things. Huh? Oh, let me just get the phrase what they said here before they get upset. And our bottoms isn't made for things to go in.
That's right. I agree 100%. I've always said it on my show as well. We've got to keep things in perspective. You see, it's not right at sort of encouraging the human race that way. See, you can always say, I don't care, and encourage...
This one's going to heat you up a bit,
yeah,
Mr. Heru.
Yeah, go on.
425 says, look at what is happening in Jamaica. There is a Spanish reggae singer talking about going back to Africa, and no questions are asked. Even he talked about Haile Selassie. They took out someone in Ghana in 2014 and no one said nothing. President of all African countries corrupt and all Caribbean countries corrupt. They've used... I'm not reading that 425. The last part, no, sorry.
No, but I can understand that still. That kind of thinking, you see? And this is what we're reinforcing. This is what these little groups... And I'll tell you something. I've known organisations that go out there to help and they end up having children. See, it's not only Oxfam, you know. I know organisations now that claim to want to help Africa and go out there and end up having wives and end up having children for the longest of time, and it's still...
Well, have a man will travel.
Well, this is what I'm saying to you, and they ain't been exposed. It's only because
But then
Oxfam's been exposed.
Yeah, but
you see,
it goes back to the misuse of power.
Yes, and it happens. This is what we should
It's
be.
the misuse of power.
Elenchi. This is the ignoratio elenchi. We're
Yes,
arguing on
it's
the
not-
wrong point.
It's the wrong point.
It's the misuse of the power we should be arguing on.
That's the important thing.
You see
The
what I'm saying to you?
misuse of power.
This is what I'm saying, and people
Corrupts absolutely.
And the last text sender said that they're corrupt, and these organisations are corrupt as well.
Not just
The founders of these little organisations are the ones that partake.
Look, we're using the organisation to allow them to hide behind it.
Yes,
the individuals.
That's right.
The person.
Yes.
The man or woman that sets up organisations that has an agenda and a motivation of acquiring power by any means necessary.
Of power. They abuse the power.
They misuse the power rather than abuse it. They misuse it.
You reckon? I think they abuse it.
It's misuse. It's the misuse of power.
You reckon?
Yeah. If you have power and you misuse it, it's the same like if you have a plug and you put a double socket on it and you put everything in it and it's still power, right? You've misused.
But abuse is when you knowingly know that you got this power.
Are you sure?
Yes. You know that you got this power and you don't, and you're still using it to get your own ends. to get your own way. That's abuse.
Primordial urge, but that's the drive behind acquiring the power in the first place.
Right. So, but this is why we've got organisations. This is why we suffer, in a sense. We're at the despotism of these so-called, helpers of Africa. This is why, if we never make Africa look like it's needy, I think if we did away with the image of needy Africa, which some of these groups are perpetrating.
For those,
you see what I'm saying to you?
For those who want to know, they will find out, and it isn't going to be
They're too
mentioned.
comfortable.
It's not going to be mentioned in mainstream media.
No, but only in these cases where Oxfam has been exposed for the sexual misconduct, prostituting.
It's not just them. The Catholic Church.
Oh yeah, with the
Catholic
paedophilia.
Church, and they've
been exposed so many times.
But hold on, they didn't just do it in Africa. They did it in Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England. There is no place that it's not been a thing.
But why is Africa always the hub now of this image and these diasporans, these Back to Africa groups that are help reinforcing that image by telling us every day? Hear them. I'll give a bank account number out for school in Africa. The bank account number is. You see what I'm saying? They have a vested interest.
And yet still, all of us, our conceptual apparatus does not kick in. We work off just one part, the het Heru, the emotions.
Not the Sabet.
The het Heru.
The het Heru is You're live on Genesis. You're live on Genesis.
Oh, yeah. I thought I'd call in because there are some misconceptions around organisations, child abuse, sex trafficking of children, running sex rings. It's long been known that the United Nations peacekeepers were doing this for years, and it's been exposed. I was trying to remember the woman who wrote the book, but all you have to do is tap in UN peacekeepers, sex rings, child sex rings, anything like that, and you'll get reams of the stuff. So it's not just the Oxfams. It's, unfortunately, it's people themselves.
That's right. It's the individual.
I used to work with a brother. He's Nigerian. This is before it became de rigueur to be talking about, pedophilia are horrible. Been in the house, I ain't mentioning no names, in Nigeria. He went on holiday in Nigeria. This is a married man. He come back and tell me, and me and another person, that he pay a man, virgin, for getting some young girls. So, I'm not into locker room, but he kind of went with the locker room business. I'm like, what? In my mind, I'm screaming, what are you saying? But I know the brother next to me, he's not off my cue, he's probably thinking, okay, so Sista, we know about this anyway, we go over Thailand, we go to Africa for years, we've been doing it. We do it in Kenya, we do it all over the place, so glad you're on board. He might have been saying that. That may be a bit much for me to say it. The point is, probably in all those African countries, Africans abuse Africans.
Yep.
I know of an instance where a man having wife, and he's got, I think it was a relative. I don't know if it was a girl, the wife's sister or something. Now, she can't say anything now. I'm not going to get locker room with it, but she can't say nothing. When you feel, that's just that. If you're looking at some of these papers, they bring people over and have them almost like slaves. Yeah. There was a case that was in court the other day.
And that's an African to an African.
Mm.
And unfortunately, speak to some of the guys from the continent, they tell me about the corruption. Literally, one of them was telling me, listen, if my man see that if he got power out there, and he take a fancy to your wife.
They did what?
If he want your wife, he will take your wife. And there is nothing, and you can't run to anybody and say anything if you don't have the money.
Mm.
This is what he's telling me. And he's like serious with it. So I don't need to be making jocular of it, but there is so much over the years that certain stations could really address and bring to light. Never have. And I say one word that I play. I can't get. All right, I'm going to say it. Look, I was listening to something earlier on today, and this is what really cracks me up because I'm sick of it. Right? But I'm just going to say what I say, and we can run with it and touch it down. Or we'll say, poppycock. What do you know? How do you know? You're an agent. You're this. You're that. I'm listening to a particular community radio show. I could just about stomach a little bit of it because I knew what was. I feel I know what it is. Somebody was introduced, and there was got an organisation or whatever it is, another NGO, and it's to do with children's dental health care in Africa. And then I sat there and I thought, here we go again. How do I suss this one out? It shouldn't take too long, but I'll find out what the angle is. So I said to myself, well, first of all, hang on a minute.
Dear.
Dental health problems for African children in Africa. Well, that's a nice, neat, new one. I've never known. I've never seen film. I've never ear tell. I've never...
Hello? Oh, this has to go on now. Cause...
Oh, is it?
Yeah, sorry. All right, call back again, mate. One sec. It goes have to go on this. Otherwise, yeah, this phone's a bit.
Signal drops.
It's not holding charge. Yeah, so.
Could you turn us up because?
Yeah, that's all right.
Echoing.
No, it's your mic.
Where does it go?
Yeah, it goes into. Sorry, one sec, folks. Yeah. Oh. Sorry, I'm just Is your mic doing that? How you got your mic this morning? One sec, the other way. Right on. Okay, right. Just gonna.
Do you know this? This is it. This is
the phone's got to be charged again, so don't worry about it. You go.
This is what I'm saying. Just because we're not aware of it, it doesn't mean it's not happening. It's definitely happening, and we get shocked and horrified and amazed and scandalized and traumatized by it. But it's 24-hour a day business. It's actually big business. Well, you might think the organisation needs this figurehead of supporting people to be able to abuse them.
Well, that's bad though, isn't it? Because if that's what's happening, why yet they can advertise to help Africa if they never had the notion that Africa is impoverished?
You're assuming that that's the reason why it's done. Do you know why, in certain ways, absolute power corrupts absolutely? Because the things that everybody else does, you don't want to do it anymore.
What do you mean?
I heard...
Oops, go on. Go on.
That's echoey.
Yeah, one sec.
Sounds really bad.
Yeah, I'll sort it out. Go on.
It's my understanding that, I don't know if I did happen to hear this in the news. I was in someone's house and the news happened to be on. That had Edward Heath, do you remember?
Yeah.
Been alive, he would have faced charges of sexual abuse against children.
Really?
And what was told to me was that he used to take children from homes, care homes, that is, care home, again, this lovely charitable benevolent act, take them from there onto a boat, violate them and kill them.
What?
Throw them overboard.
Serious?
I'm not joking. So this, and he was a confirmed bachelor. Apparently, it cannot even be said that he'd been with a woman or a man.
Really?
Really?
let charge up first. Yeah, Ray, is that a fact?
Yes.
Okay.
Why do you think this big scandal that's come out over here? Some of those children were trafficked from other countries, specifically for the delectation of those that do indulge.
So that's going on left, right and centre then?
Under your nose, in your neighbourhood, on your doorstep.
Wow.
And it's not just children of the African persuasion. It's children of the Chinese, Indian, whichever nationality it is. The ones that come from like war-torn places or places where there's been a disaster of some description are the ones that are most vulnerable because their parents are dead.
Wow.
Not only can they be sexually violated, they can also have their kidney removed, or they can be used as someone who grows up knowing that they'll be donating their kidney, liver, heart, spleen, whatever it is, to whoever has purchased them.
But I kind of heard Africans say that they're not poor, and they're quite upset. Because remember, a few times they've rang in here and said, "Why do you keep portraying Africa as though it needs handout all the time?"
Because
you see what I'm saying?
This is the image. I'm going to use a quote from someone else now.
Cliche.
Oh yes, cliche. The illusion of inclusion.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate. These cliches, really, I tell you.
The illusion of inclusion. Oh, we're being inclusive because we're helping our fellow brother and our fellow men. But what you're doing is supporting. It's like they say, when someone used to sell DVD, 3 for £5 DVD, £1 DVD.
DVD.
They say it supports crime, but they haven't told you which crime. It is trafficking of people, as well as drugs, as well as everything else that goes along with that, the nature of crime. Okay, just because you didn't know and you watch several or many or still have copies of, doesn't mean that it wasn't happening from that point, does it?
Well, so you're saying that that it's across the board.
Across the board in India right now.
Yeah.
There are brothels because in India, females are seen less desirable than males. And some women are forced by their husbands, by their culture, by their family, to put the girl child in a container, a metal container, out in the sun to die.
Really?
And then someone might scrape it up and decide to adopt the child.
So you could say then, right? This idea of Africa being poor is actually contributing. Oh, okay. You're live on Journey. Sorry about that, Reese. The battery died. Go ahead, mate. Fire.
Yeah. I just wanted to, because I thought it's one of these things that a job. It's a dirty job that has to be done, and it's another one of those dirty jobs that I fear has to be done, and perhaps yours truly will get round to really making it clear. So I'm just going to jump around a little bit on it, because it's not really something that I'm preoccupied with. But there are a lot of people, and the media is heavily to blame with this, and they're not looking at it properly. A lot of people, when they mention the church, the Catholic Church, for argument's sake, and I think they've even come up with the Anglican Church recently, and they say paedophile priest. And I do take exception to that. And I take exception to a lot of assumptions made and misinterpretation of words. Because if you don't understand what is being said, then you don't understand what is going on. You think you do. Because when somebody says a paedophile priest, for argument's sake, you, and from the Catholic religion, you think, well, they're just like children. Prepubescent children. And that is not the case.
Big mistake.
Grown men figured out a way to go in the church and get access to those falsetto singing boys. They are homosexuals. They're not pedophiles per se. They are homosexuals. And we have to understand that homosexuals always like to break in new kids. I mentioned some time back a guy named Ryan Sorba. Ryan Sorba took his camera, hid in his bag, whatever it is, to some gay haunts. This is an American guy, so you might call him an investigative journalist. And Ching having a chat, the music pumping, and they're having a conversation. He's asking him, so are you born gay? Not one of these guys off camera, well, they think they're off camera. Oh, they're like, oh hell no. Laughing about it as I am laughing about it. That's how blasé they are. And how dangerous they are. And I'll get to the danger bit in a minute. So, none of them, and look, you don't have to take my word. The internet is right in front of you. You tap it up. Ryan Sorba exposes homosexuals. You find out what they say. I'm sick and tired that this has never been exposed for what it is. So what they said was, they were interfered with. And one of them said, it's not by who you think. It's not the old guy in a dodgy Mac, Columbo style Mac. It was a younger person, like a teenager done then. Right? So number one, they're not born like that. We get that out of their own mouth. Number two, they hide secrets from the wider society. Number three, they don't like women. They use women and they hang around women to find out every inflection, every tone, style, everything about the woman and her business, and then turn on her and say she this and that. But so long as they've got a persona and understand how women are, you're going to be close now. You're going to be close on the woman now, to find out when she's got mood, P and all that kind of stuff, to mimic. Again, someone could say, oh, that sounds, whatever, I don't care. You don't think I do, right? So, there's that. There's also Brian Coleman. He's an MP, former Conservative MP. And I remember him some years back. He goes, oh, everybody taking for the homosexual and all that business. And I thought, here you coming out now doing that. Oh, people know. You live in a nasty society, mate. And you hid it from everybody else, the wider your enemies, the heterosexuals. You know those guys? You didn't want them to know. So when Heath took this country into the EU and lied, whether he wanted to or not, because the man is so nasty and was doing things in the public around certain places and didn't understand it's not a good idea, Heath. You're going to be Prime Minister, you're Prime Minister now. Stop that with that boy. Of course, they film him. They film him, and so therefore, as Prime Minister, you have to lie to your country.
Oh, dear.
Now we know. We all know this. This is the problem when you get certain... and the other thing, academics hate this. Because academics, lefty academics, right, they love to talk about gender fluidity and all this nonsense, right? And how race and sexuality, social construction, that nonsense, right? Circular reasoning. I've quoted from a book that I've got that this whole term gender was, and the idea, the concept that gender is fluid, came out of an accident in the 50s. An accident. Somebody, a boy who was supposed to get a twin, who was supposed to get a circumcision, the accident went wrong. And they cut off more than they should.
Oh, God.
John Money, the well-renowned sexologist, look him up. He says, okay, we can fix that. We'll take the rest of his penis up and raise him as a girl. Now, when he proclaimed, this is John Money now, proclaimed that it was a success, he hid the data, the real data, right? So he's telling everybody how it's a success. And I've got the book, and the author of the book is saying it was at that time that the feminists kind of, in other words, jumped for joy, punched the guy, and started with this gender fluidity. Who did it? Who promoted it? Feminism. Who is defending it today? Feminism. Who is defending all the alphabet soup of disparate groups. Feminism. They don't like it when I quote from the leading feminists of the 19th century and how racist they were. They hate it. I can take the black feminists and use their own words about the racism within the group. And the problem is, when you try to tell these stupid black women, listen, this is not your party. They are using you. They've only ever used you. It's a trick. And this trick is for one thing only. Because, I'm not going to reveal, but let's put it this way. You got footballers that spend a lot of their time training, running up and down in cold and kicking the ball around. And we had a lot of those guys who were black. Very few managers, do you notice, of the times where we had the Ian Wrights and the Luther Blissets and the late Cyril Regis and so forth, very few of those guys become managers. You would think that was the managership would come from a crop of those guys, you know? It should do, even later. Because you've got young managers, people who ain't got no badges have got managers. In fact, you know what they've done? They rather than train up any black guys or select any black guys to be managers, they said, we're going to go to Italy, we're going to go to Holland, we're going to go to everywhere else except right on our doorstep, and you guys. Even that, I mean, it is what it is. So, you know, there's a lot to, you know, like I said, I'm going to jump around a little bit.
But Reese, let me ask a question, man. Are you of the opinion that Africa is not in charge of her resources? I mean, the whole continent, I mean, you know, a vast continent, and none of the countries are in charge of their resources. Do you think that's true?
Well, I think it speaks for itself. It's definitely true. I mean, they had one last chance, one last hurrah, but they didn't stand up for Gaddafi. So bye-bye Africa. It's open season. It's open for sale. The people are for sale. Anybody who wants to go in there as an NGO with a quote-unquote genuine idea, they're only there to abuse the people, and half of them people want to come out anyway. It's dead. It's really dead. It's I don't know. I can't say any more than I'll try to speak the truth. And if you speak the truth, it will stand for you. But people seem to not understand. For argument's sake, you live in England. I live in England. And it's a Christian realm. And people have been bashing this Christian realm, its people, and Christianity, even though I am not a Christian, I'm a creationist. But even though I'm not, I see the power within it. And rather than people say, all right, on a schoolboy level, yeah, I understand the Bible. I'm older than that. But on a mature philosophical level, let me, with a grown man's brain and eyes, see what is being said. Okay? No. They grow old and they still perpetuate the 12-year-old mind when it comes to the book. What's that got to do with Africa? Well, it's got a lot to do with Africa because part of Africa is Christian. Part of it is Muslim. And if you destroy or you don't promote that which is good of Christianity and good stewards of Christianity, then you leave a void. And once the void is there, you supplant it with what? Communism?
Right. Let me ask another question.
Socialism?
All right. Let me go and ask you this, Rich. So, why are these groups? Are these groups helping to keep up the image of Africa being impoverished and backward because they are in the 21st century still needing schools to be built, still needing toilets, still needing water? You know, it seems to me to be the trend. Why are these groups helping to perpetuate that kind of image when Africa's got advanced industries and advanced countries? Why aren't the advanced countries being highlighted?
Well, I don't know. You have to give me what you would consider an advanced African country.
Well, one that doesn't need a bloody school built, who already got schools and universities and everything like that. You telling me there's no country in Africa that's got that?
Look, it's number one. I've got nothing to do with those who call themselves Afrocentrics, Pan-Africanists, and to me they're all hucksters, and they're all in it for self. They don't really care. They never did care. It's about this. They're still promoting Kwanzaa, for God's sake. You know what I mean? I mean, any one of them that says Kwanzaa's good and yeah, is a lawyer, straight up the back, right? So I'm sorry that a lot of people, I don't, who cares what they think? I mean, they're still, listen, they're still talking about female genital mutilation.
Mm.
They take it, this is a script from out the Uzunga book, if you want. And if you want to break that down again, I'll do it. But this is stupid. Because if, for instance, you have a governance that we know that's going to tell you, he's killing his own people, we're going to go in there in nature and destroy this country, and we're going to turn over another country, just as if it was 1845. Same thing, right? You know? Oh, that was a long time ago when the Imperial Empire, we don't do that anymore. It should bloody well do. But we've got video, we've got camera, we've got internet, it's pretty obvious. So if they tell you something about what's going on in Africa, and they put this name on it, female genital mutilation, why would a Pan-Africanist organisation take their word for it and promote it? Without no other explanation about what is going on.
Here for that point, Reese. We agree at last. Thank God Almighty, we agree at last.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, Reese, as you can see, what we're confronted with here, right? This notion that Africa can't feed herself, right, and is so resource rich, and that they're giving away all of these riches, they're giving it away to foreigners. You see what I'm saying? This idea has been pushed, right? I think there's an agenda going on here somewhere, Seriously.
Well, there certainly is an agenda going on. But let's be straight here. Africa is a huge continent.
Huge.
It's got an abundance of riches, an embarrassment of wealth. Unfortunately, the leadership of these individual countries are working by the Talmudists and the IMF nonsense. And they put in Barack Obama, and Barack Obama did more attacks on Africa than George Bush ever could. You know what I mean? I mean, it was the biggest scam ever going. And there's parts of America itself, jumping around again, there's parts of the United States that look like some part of pre-Civil War. That's all I can say. Some people are living in abject poverty in the United States. All that hoopla, and all the rallies they do, but it looks like they've got money to spend, and all this kind of promotion of the Democratic Party, which is the party of the Klan, by the way, and it always has been. You have to realize that a lot of people have lost their mind. And a lot of people on the African continent have lost their mind.
I don't agree with that, Reese. Reese, you know why? I think it's more of a class thing, right? I'm telling you, this is the reason why you have poverty in the midst of richness. You know what I mean? It is because the class war, and it's the elites that are afraid to lose wealth. I just want to. I mean, the gap between the rich and the poor in every country, Africa and all, is widening. You see,
yeah,
so there's a conspiracy.
That's a fact.
Yeah, conspiracy between.
That's on record level. But let me show you something that another thing that people don't understand. A lot of people say this about Africans who come over and they go to university and they're much more successful than the Caribbeans. And in America, it's the same thing. They say, oh, people come from Nigeria and Ghana and they go to university and they do much more better than the homegrown America. Well, let's just check this out. We've got to look at this to find out who is actually coming over. Since you and I know that, let's take any country. There's a regime in an African country who's siphoning the money back to England, and the leader is not helping, their country really, right? So by proxy, it's still colonial. And then he gets a crisis of conscience, maybe, right? Maybe he gets a crisis of conscience, and he tells Mama England, no, I'm not doing that. Then Mama England does what she does. She goes to the other side, look, I'll fund you your campaign, I'll fund you this, and I'll get your tribe in, right? And you sort that out. Is that agreed? Agreed. Then there's an election, and that guy and his people are kicked out. Now, rather than they stay there and have to face the people that they were facing down and walking over, who are now, guess where they come? You mentioned class. Because in Africa, if you're on the right side, you're in a good class. You get the finest of everything. You get the finest houses, you get the finest education. So when they come over here, they're a middle class already. So when they go to university, there's no problem. There's not much of an adjustment. That is different from you and I, whose parents, or my parents came over, even though my dad commits shoe, it's actually marching in a factory. He wasn't going to get a loan. It's not anything that he could do with his hands. They weren't interested in that. But he wasn't middle class. He's the salt of the earth. There's a difference in immigrants who come over.
Yeah.
There's a complete difference of immigrants. And therefore, when people say we're all equal, no, we are not. That's number one. On many different levels, we are not. I'm going to say, oh, different ethnic minorities, as if we're one homogenous group and all come from the same, economic. No, we do not. Some of us have been discriminated against far more than others, and the history books won't lie about it. So why would you tell me, for argument's sake, not to argue my case, stand with an Indian whose argument is different, who's not really going to business about my argument and whether I get reparations or not. Especially if reparations mean, oh, I want to get the level to him. He's not going to want that. Why should I give him half idea?
Okay,
Well,
Reese.
he ain't going to give me half of his.
Yeah.
Everybody's an individual with a particular standpoint, a particular experience. And so therefore you have to look now right back on those so-called leaders who agree with it in the first place. Every last one of them is lying. It did not help blacks or the Caribbeans at all. In fact, they put a hobnail boot, their hobnail boot on our neck. And this is what you got around. You got remnants of people who have never done you any good. And they're not doing Africa any good as much as they would Don, whatever it is. Yeah. The more they don't like establish, the more you know that's fake anyway.
Okay, Reese.
Because they're not going to address any real issues. They go, last thing, they go on a march, and they talk about this Marcus Mosiah. But you notice that if you see a leftist march, every concern you see on the banners. Yet, when you Robert Thompson from the CDC comes out and says MMR causes autism and gives black boys 5 times more autism than white boys, you don't see them with a sign. They never bring attention to anything that matters, apart from whinging. And anybody with power don't mind you whinging. All you're saying is, ouch, it hurt, ouch, it hurt. We're now doing it, ouch, it hurt. You bitches. So, sorry. And with that.
Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah. He's gone. Oh, he's gone. Okay, thank you for that, Reese. You got cut. I would never cut you off there, but yeah. So you're in tune to Genesis Radio and the Squeaky People's Talk Show. That sounds so. What you call it? I don't understand. Echoey. Wow. But yeah. So the thing is, what we're trying to establish here is this. Yeah. I think personally that there is a conspiracy going on. Seriously, we call me a conspiracy theorist. Well, because what's happening here? The image, I don't think it matches up with Africa. While they're talking about a part of Africa, just about that part of it. This is why the abuse is taking place, because they're targeting the poorest parts of Africa all the time. I'm not poor in the sense of spirit, but poor in the sense of they haven't developed along the lines, have no that kind of a poverty, but they're quite happy with themselves still in their spirit. They're not impoverished, but keeping in line with the more advanced industrialized countries, Africa is well ahead of these countries as well. But you never hear, and that's why I say there's a conspiracy, even in these liberation groups today. They're helping perpetuate this needy Africa by going to Africa themselves, just like those Europeans, and picking out the parts that are less developed. You see what I'm saying to you? Highlighting those parts of Africa and representing that part as Africa itself, when Africa is highly developed. Nobody wants to speak about a highly developed Africa. Why? Why?
Because then people will want to go there. And when people want to go there, it becomes overpopulated. And when it becomes overpopulated...
A continent like that? You could
you and I know, I think it can fit into America more than 100. Let me put it the other way.
America
it fits into the continent of Africa quite a few hundred times.
Right. So it can be populated. There's still parts of Africa that's underpopulated. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is, it's these little fringe groups that I'm worried about now are just as bad as Oxfam, that are just as guilty as Oxfam for doing things. We don't hear about them.
It's the nature of the human.
The animal. See, we don't hear about these abuses, not only from these big organisations, but we hear about them momentarily, because I know quite a few that have gone there and have taken advantage of Africa. I don't see what this overemphasis. You know, if you're living in this country,
what is it you used to say about dissatisfied
dissidents?
People?
Yeah, that are dissatisfied with the political organisation in Africa, right? And they come over here and they find these little groups that are always crying on about Africa, and they help perpetuate an image of poverty, when Africa is quite capable of feeding herself 10 times over. You know, again, you have to ask yourself the question: does these minorities in Africa want to go develop, want to become industrialized countries, or they're quite happy to remain as they are? You see, the people have a choice. It's a lifestyle choice, you know. But this perpetuating this image of and the liberation groups, so-called, are help reinforcing this image of impoverishedness on a country that's full of resources, and even blaming the governments, just the neo-colonial this. It's all a ploy, as far as I'm concerned. You've got to understand African politics, right? To say that the Africans are not doing the right thing and this and that, and they're greedy, it's like saying about anybody else that are in any other country that are greedy. The elites are always greedy. The elites want to rule. They're aware of other classes that are quite capable of bringing them down. You see, like France again, you see.
And here we go again. But that was a long time in coming.
Right. And who's to say that it won't happen here in Europe, where the poor have had enough and decide, do or die, come hell or high water, we're going to get some of the pie. You see? A share, because people are not sharing the wealth. And in Africa, the wealth has not been shared. In Europe, the wealth is not being shared. The gap between the rich and the poor in Europe, any country that you go, you never see the lower class up there. A revelation always starts from the lower class. But the one thing they said about Africa, that the lower class was quite happy with their position, according to Sheikh Anta Diop, in the Civilization and Barbarian and the Causes of Revolution in Societies. It's always came from the top in Africa rather than from the bottom. How about that? I think, do your research, check it out. But get the book, The Civilization and Barbarism by Sheikh Anta Diop, and look at the section between the revolutionary, the cause of revolution. But the poor man in Africa, he has the middle class man has more respect. Even the upper class have more respect for the lower class.
Well, if they're if that's your food, you're going to respect it a little bit, right?
Well, of course.
It's your food.
Yes.
You're not going to kind of like that you need it.
Right. So this...
And the food doesn't realise it doesn't need you.
It doesn't. If it does get to that point where it realises, you see. But this is why there's never a revolution of the one type in Europe, in Africa. The poor is quite happy with their position. Not to say they're glutton for punishment or anything like that, but what they see is they're quite contented. And they don't want to do nothing with the rich. They don't even want to go in their yard. So the revolution won't happen from that level. You see, the revolution will happen from the above in Africa. From the king, princes and all them thing there. You see? In Europe it's different. It's a feudal type thing where the poor are dependent on the rich, the powerful, and needed the powerful's protection. And they're quite unhappy with their position. You see? And so they would start a revolution from that level. Because they're not even respected. You're live in Genesis.
Now, you come to a great subject, which are Reese. I really like Reese. And I'm not going to keep it too long, and I'm try and be as fast as I can. Now, Reese is a great caller, and I agree with a lot of things he says. Now, talking about revolution, talking about the things. Now, this has been said that they always make like Africa bad, like they always, our media, ourselves, and I told you this, our media make my country bad and the things that's happening in my country. But so coming to this revolution, people will have a revolution, but you know when the riots happened in this country, look what the anarchists did, yeah? Where did some of those rioters were undercover police or not? Some of those anarchists went so far, they burnt the man's shop down. The man said, take everything that I want, take everything, but please don't touch us. What did they do? The man burnt down the shop. What happened now? More laws, more things. So around the world, talking about a revolution, who would get hurt? Many of the disabled people, like me. There'll be disabled people all around this world, like me, that will get hurt very violently. Now, there will be some people are saying that there will be not just the class war, but the class war will turn into a violent race war and a caste war. Because they're putting people in caste systems. India, they've got the caste system, allegedly. There's some things now in the Caribbean, allegedly, that I heard, they've got the caste system. They've got all these leaders now that they're saying that they're all corrupt. They like to see their country look bad. You know, and the only, and I tell you this, I might be dead tomorrow, I might be not leaving or not breathing. Who knows who's going to happen? You know, I might be living, but if I'm not living and breathing, just remember Burchak's words. Our president now, our Turkish president now, is the best. Everyone wants a person like him. Pakistan wants a person like him. America even said, swap the leader, Obama, at the time. Obama wasn't doing anything. He said, swap that for the Turkish president, Mr. Erdogan. That's how much they're starting to love him. Because he's trying to think up to his people. Just like the president of Libya at that time. Colonel,
Gaddafi, yeah.
When they took him out. Yeah, just like Saddam Hussein, who was trying to stand up for his people, like they took him out. And they tried to make Iraq look back. You know how? They said, oh, how much they're treating the women badly, how much they're doing this. They were doing so much. Everyone was saying that it was such a great country. Now they come in, it is torn. It's absolute anarchy. Violence towards women, occupied by things. The same thing that they tried to do in the Croats and the Bosnians. Next day, they were waking up saying, oh, you know, I don't like you because you're from this. I don't like you. It's the media of these three countries. England, you know, Europe media, they are so smart. They know how to switch. They know how to turn switches on. And the people who do control the England media, who do, and it's not even their fault, who controls all these media things, Who controls? Right now, you've got to ask yourself, is this person, Adam Weishaupt, the German king, he had a love for everybody. Every race. That's a long, long time ago. He didn't like these people from the Illuminati. He didn't like this. But you know what he did? He was so impatient that some of them breathed down. He would have killed them all if he would have been more patient. And right now, we wouldn't have had these conversations. Now, all of these talking, let me also alert you, now, they want to try and suppress the internet, which they're trying to do, so that they can have their own media, their own news on the thing, and they'll make other countries look bad. So you're trying to be a whistleblower thingy. They're trying to put the link tax on now. The link tax will then, I'm recording all these shows, putting these on YouTube. They can easily tell the search engines to take this off. And they will find the search engine. And this is what they're trying to do. This is the serious thing that I'm going through right now. And apparently now, what's happening in Holland now, the Turkish people who's trying to speak up against their country, they're getting them one by one, allegedly again. This is what I heard from a friend, that they're sending them back to their country. By force or by not, I don't know. But in Holland, they're slowly getting all those people who's patriotic Turk, and they're sending them back to their country. So this could happen next year, God forbid.
Okay, Reese. Bertrack. Thank you for that interjection.
Sorry, Sister Dionne. I don't
know
what
problem.
you lot think, but tell it after when I come off.
All right,
Bye.
No problem. Thank you for that, Bertrack. Yeah, you're in tune to the People's Talk Show, and it is now fast approaching 6 minutes past 6. We were waiting for
6 minutes past 6.
Sorry, past 5. We were waiting for the arrival of Prophet, but it doesn't seem to be coming today. I don't know. We're still waiting. Hopefully he will arrive soon, but it looks very unlikely. I was looking forward to having a Prophet on the show. So who knows what happened. We will deal with that. But we're here discussing the Oxfam situation, and we're also discussing about the parliamentary debate was going to have the sexual education for our children on homosexuality, but they've changed their mind now. They're not going to introduce that. I think they're holding back because of the revolt that they had, which is they only test the water at times when they do these things. But we got to understand what's happening there in terms of politics. If we want to make right decisions and right thoughts on our condition and our position in society, I think we have the wrong concept.
Texas?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is from 177. Says Saudi Arabia has a theocracy. Mentions a particular listener, caller, which I won't go into, is all over the shop floor. Big up yourself, Heru. I just got back from the Gambia. I saw exactly what you're talking about there. The majority of the people, very poor, with a small group of lower to upper middle income earners, and a very small set of upper class that run virtually everything. They were black, and their melanin didn't make them give a damn about the majority. Seeing this with your own eyes puts things into perspective. No matter where you dare, the struggle is the same. Greetings to you both. Sister Dionne raised an interesting point about going back to nature and simplicity.
Yeah.
While I was in the Gambia, I remember having a convo with a Gambian who was showing me pictures of the compound his family lived in. I commented about the beauty in living with nature and being resourceful. The man looked at me incredulously and almost spat out, "That was disgusting for people to be living like this way in this time." So I think it's easy for us living in the West to romanticize it day in, day out. It is tough. Heru, what you're saying about is true. Oh, it's gone on.
Yeah.
You're saying is true about the lower class in Africa being more accepting of their station in life. While I was out there, I questioned the same thing, and I think it's partially down to the religious conservatism out there and lack of education. We talk about the caste system in India, but I saw a kind of caste system in Gambia. Reverence is paid to hierarchy and tradition.
That's correct. See, so it's not rocket science. I think we're over egging the pudding here. We're listening to people that haven't got a clue of what they're talking about, and they're educating us on Africa, and the wrong way. And we begin to view Africa through their eyes, through the organisation eyes, and they're the ones that are perpetuating this image of poverty that has made Oxfam eligible for government to give them how much millions? You see, using Africa.
This is what the next text actually goes on to say.
Go on.
801. Heru, the West sees many African nations as fair game for their charitable exploitation. Yes. Let's get the word correctly.
That's the right word.
That's the correct word. Yeah. Exploitation.
Yes.
Charity is big business. Mm-hmm. The African rulers take back handers from these charities so they can generate cash from these African countries. Yeah. So you see, that's
serious, you know. When you see these adverts, it hurts me to see how they prey on our emotions when they have these adverts, and it really hurts me in a sense to see that. You know what I mean?
The same texter 801 says, Heru, sometimes I think many blacks love to be abused. And in certain ways...
What, a glutton for punishment, like?
Glutton for punishment, as in the learned helplessness has exceeded its boundaries and, gone on to different boundaries.
I can understand that logic behind that. But if we educate ourselves as a group, which we're not doing, the more text is there?
Yes, the same one continues on. Heru, all good and hedonistic black died years ago. Heroic, not hedonistic. It's not the same thing at all.
Serious, yeah.
They no longer exist. Heru, we want to thank you. You have been saying for years that we were the first to inhabit this land called Britain. Now it's been confirmed through the DNA analysis of a cheddar man. In the mainstream media. From now on, when a cave dweller tells me to go back home, I'm going to tell you to say F off back. Well, we were here before you.
Yeah. You see, the thing is with this consciousness, educating people the wrong way, and we have guilty parties in this, especially in the southeast of London, and groups that try to use Africa themselves. You see what I'm saying to you? They're just as bad. We don't have to just recognise Oxfam and these other groups.
Heru. I feel another cliche coming in.
Oh gosh, what's that? Go on.
Dog eats dog. Primordial.
Right, for real. Are we gonna get out of this? I think we've been educated. I think Africa's kind of fed up with being portrayed in the way that she's been portrayed. I can hear Africans say this. They're tired of people trying to help them. And if we keep this image of Africa as not being able to, how can we keep the image of them being the best, being the first on the planet, and being
did you not hear about the cheddar man? That's what we always talked about that right here on Genesis about who was it that came to
Grimaldi.
No, after Grimaldi.
Yeah.
The one that came, the black soldier that was given props, and he said it was disgusting in London, so he moved down to Bath and Cheddar. I've been there. I've been to Bath and Cheddar.
Septimus Servius?
Yes, I've been there.
Wow. You're live on Genesis?
Yeah, I thought I'd chime in again, because there are many ways that people listening can actually do something really effective. I think how many years, an example of how effective I can be right now, and just like what I'm saying, people will consider it and say, you know what, which is the whole point of what I do. How many years do you reckon those people been, the upper pan up and, the die-hard yellow, greens, black and reds, have been walking up and down, every year on August, whinging. How many years have they been doing it?
Whinging. You tell me, Reese. You tell me.
I don't know.
You must have an idea. I don't know who you're talking about, though.
I mean, when I first started to listen to alternative radio, and I hear this African liberation, a big question mark came over my head. But I ran with it anyway just to find out what's going on, and it's lamenting and whinging, and I just don't do that. There's no point in doing lamenting. There is research. There is, quote, where you get the research from, there is enlightenment. I mean, there's something that people can do. All right? Evil isn't color-coded, right? So, I don't know if anybody knew, but in June the 23rd, 2016, there was this momentous election. It was a referendum whether the United Kingdom, the first European Union, and the most successful, was going to stay sovereign, or was it going to give up all that sovereignty and enslave itself in the EU? Okay? And against all Rothschild and his agents and his media outlet and everything, people spoke, and they voted to say, we're done with this. Right? Year in, year out, we're giving you 10 billion, you give us back a nominal amount. And you're just, we're not happy with this, and you're interfering, and then all of a sudden, mainland Europe wants to bring the whole world into mainland Europe and tell us we have to take a quota. I beg your pardon? We've got business to deal with in this country first. I tried to engage on mainstream media, but I think I made too much of a bit of a noise when I was doing it, so they don't allow me on anymore, which is okay. It's their party. I'm not invited. Fair enough, right? But what people can do, from all stripes, if you really do care about the United Kingdom and Africa, or any individual country in Africa, and you want to empower that country in the future, you better be thinking about the United Kingdom being sovereign. And use these two words, when you park up enough courage to go on mainstream. You use the word traitor, and you use the word seditious. Sedition. Right? Right now, the Hungarian Jew, George Soros, is funding the anti-Brexit campaign. I think it's 400 million. 400 million? This is all for propaganda. This is the same guy that's funded Black Lives Matter. Right? Nothing to do with black people. All his left-wing agenda. Everything. The Green Party, all he's left with. This guy thinks he's God. In fact, I think I've got a quote where he said it's nice to feel like God. But I haven't got the article right now, how this arrogant Peter, whatever. But the truth of the matter is, this man needs to be locked up. And those MPs need to remind themselves what happened in 2012. Okay? That was a jubilee. That wasn't just about bunting and cupcakes. And if you want to know what that's actually about, go on the internet and look at the coronation and see that it's a contract between Queen and the citizenry. She's only Queen because we want her to be Queen. And she has to abide by it. So far, I think she's done okay. But we've got a whole to it. And when MPs turn around and say, oh, we don't like this, oh, we don't know what kind of it's going to be, and they seem to forget what happened in 2012. So they're in direct contradiction of their job in the first place. They shouldn't even have it. It shouldn't be an MP. And because nobody phones up and let the media hear this, because they're talking about, oh, it's not helpful if you use the word traitors and we're getting all this kind of abuse online. Yeah, you should be strung up, tarred and feathered. What you're doing is blatant treason. It's against this country. It's a sovereign nation. Now, let's look at the arguments out there. They're saying that the Brexiteers don't know, they haven't got all these trade deals. We don't know. Okay, let's just take their stupid arguments for what it's worth. So let me juxtapose that to all these. We want the EU. Remember what it was supposed to be? Could they tell me what it's going to be? Could they tell me if anything, they get a directive, if they can resist it? They couldn't even say how much they can take in. If they're told to take 50% of people from Liberia or from, I don't know, Bratislava, wherever that is, if it's Yugoslavia, whatever, any country, you have to take it. And that's because, as Jacob Rees-Mogg says, you're a vassal state. You can't send nothing, you open and we tell you how much you give us, ka-ching, ka-ching, and this is what you do, ka-ching, ka-ching. You can't, you've got no sovereignty. This is what these people don't know. They are, all these MPs are talking about, we don't want the sovereignty. Well, leave the job then. You're there because the people put you there to serve the people. You want to serve everybody else. Right. But the people use the word treason and use the word sedition.
Yeah, okay.
And the more that gets into the public lexicon, people will start to say, you know what? It's true. You see how quick them and the Subaru and them shut their bloody mouth.
Okay, Reese, thank you for that. Enough respect for that interjection. It's true. So here we are. We're faced with this abuse of power. Abuse. And this is what's happened and even in our groups and amongst our community, there's a hierarchy of understandings as well. People like to be on the periphery of information and claim and try to mold our feelings. And we're so gullible. That's why I try to establish in the beginning whether blacks are so gullible. I don't believe that for 1 minute that Africans are that gullible. I don't believe it for 1 minute. But I understand it in terms of education and class. You see, otherwise people wouldn't be leaving Africa to go and find better life elsewhere. Africa is the paradise that these diasporans make it out to be. Then people wouldn't be leaving paradise. Who leaves paradise? Nobody leaves paradise. So it's this misinformation, this myth of misinformation about the way you feel. These people that have a monopoly on our understanding as blacks. Instead of seeing achievement, we don't see no achievement here because we're not educated to see achievements here in this territory, which our predecessors created and built. We're no longer, this generation of blacks, I think, I'm telling you all the time, are the generation that to see that put the last nail in the coffin of the race if we're not careful. Perception is paramount. We are not a weak people. We can't be the same people that built pyramids. We're the descendants of those that built pyramids, that gave the world all of the disciplines that they now have in their schools. That's what happened. How can we reach this point? I reckon it's this education of these ideas that we're taking in. These misinformation about ourselves and about the state of Africa. People are abusing power all the way round, even in the liberation. You've got individuals that will abuse power just as much. And when they do go to Africa, they do a bit of abusing themselves. But the only thing you don't hear about it because they're not the big Oxfam or the big organisations, but they do take advantage, little bits of our advantage, and I know plenty of them that take advantage of the people of Africa because they see the people of Africa as being needy. And they help perpetuating that image of neediness. Oh, we have to go send clothes to Africa tonight because there's come on, man. Are you got more teeth than the AU? The AU is 54. They're representative. You're not a representative body of Africa. With your little organisation, it's not you. You don't represent.
But also, Heru, there's another part of the primordial urge which you've missed out.
What's that?
I'm taking it on the psychological, psych it out, man. Shrink that brain. Understand its motives, its means, and its operation. The opportunist.
That's a good one.
The operative and the speculative.
Yes,
opportunist.
we used to say that, man. What do you call operative and speculative?
Look, if I see an opportunity over there, I'm going to speculate on my chances of getting me have some.
Yeah.
Not my brother, me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
so when I go there now, I'm like, whoa, this is a good business. This is
You see?
a good idea. Oh, I wonder how I can get.
Exploit
What is it
it.
you say about power? That when you do something, I've forgotten the exact phrase you use when defining your
defining your own
reality
and getting somebody to
getting other people
to carry it out.
Do you
You're
not see
right.
the play in
Yes.
real reality?
Right before our face, we didn't even nobody noticed. You see?
Right.
You see, our own people. This is the thing. Abusing power, getting you to carry out their idea or their definition of reality.
So what's my opportunity?
That's terrible.
I see an opportunity to go there.
Yes,
And I
opportunist.
see that, right, there's a hierarchy going on over here even.
Mm-hmm.
And to get in with them people,
The
I
in
have to
crowd.
be seen to be doing something. But
Ah.
I don't have the actual hard cash to do it myself.
Mm.
So what am I going to do? Oh, I know. I can get you this. Remember,
Yeah, the
beware
carrot.
of people bringing you gifts.
Mm-hmm.
See how
They
it
don't
plays
look
in?
at gift horse in the mouth though.
Yeah, and they're not going to look the gift horse in the mouth because they've already seen plenty horse.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
they made the horse. Forget.
Wow.
So I come with my horses,
Mm.
bearing gifts.
Yes. And that's how it runs, isn't it? But bearing gifts and grinning. I'll call you back in a minute. Yeah, I'm on the radio. Yeah, I'll call you back. Yeah. So the people that's bearing gifts.
The ones. This is why I said what I said. I know you say, "Oh, it's a cliche," but
Yes.
look at the reality. It's not going to change.
But then the people have to be educated. Why are the masses so ignorant then? And
Because
so
we're
they're
all
able
in this.
to manipulate
We're all
the
in this
lower
state
class.
of learned helplessness.
How long?
Until we choose to change it.
But I think we should, we should go out to help change this approach in taking advantage of the poor. This is what happens.
Seriously speaking,
manipulating
though,
the poor.
when you used to say pull the rug, you can't pull the rug out from
on
underneath people's feet.
without putting a structure.
Putting something
in
underneath
place.
there.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah. So until that time,
But that's what we've been doing for the last. Look, how long have we been doing this? We've
Long.
been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah,
we're
long.
not in the manipulative, speculative.
and sometimes it takes time for people to see
Digest,
a
yeah.
reality.
Yes, and
You
hope
have
they
to
can
drink
do
milk
that.
before you can eat food, right?
Well, it's about time I come for Farley Rusk. Are we still on? Are we still
Yes.
on Farley Rusk?
Yes, because
we're still having
because
mummy's titty
the conceptual apparatus is still.
primed with ignorance.
I'm not going to demean anyone by saying it's primed with ignorance. I would say that it's still evolving very, very slowly.
Wow, that's a long baby. But I mean, babies only growing in
Shush,
what,
it takes
7
eight,
years, 8,
it
9,
takes
10
9
years.
months before you come to dry land.
Yeah, but are we-
It takes 1 year before you can eat solid food and walk. It takes
So how
another
old do you
2,
reckon
3
we are
years.
now, then?
It takes another 2, 3 years before you can exert your own will.
So where we are, where are we in this? What age do you reckon we are then? That masses are. What age do you reckon the masses are at then?
I reckon
Given that analogy, you
we're
just
in the
used.
stage of
Are we walking yet? Are we still in nappies?
we're out of nappies and we're just about
We learned
trying.
you use the chimney.
We're just about trying to eat solid food because there's a lot of stuff to take in.
Wow,
What?
man.
You mean that black people made stuff?
Yeah.
When? Where? How?
We don't
That's
look
not
like
what the
it.
books say.
Yeah.
Look at cheddar. Everyone's getting excited. There's even another one.
Really? What? Find another.
Another one. Where is it called? Oh, I'm trying to picture it. Some kind of head, but not maidenhead. There's
okay,
another,
yes,
There's another
yes,
place
yes,
where they say that it's built
Yes.
by
That's
black
right,
people.
yes.
It's not the first and it won't be the last because we're consistently evolving and seeing that the illusion that we were educated
Mm-hmm.
is just that, an illusion. And the only way to learn is to do your own self-research. You have to become astute and an able student in how to read, write, and critique
But
what you see.
the masses are not being allowed to.
I'm sorry.
To
The masses are made up of people, and each person, each individual has
responsibility.
to know.
Well, why aren't they knowing? I mean,
It's not.
Something
It's
is-
not for everybody because then you got to face the horrible truth, and truth is not pretty.
I know.
I say truth is pig ugly and butt naked. But it's beautiful because, you know, you get to love it. I don't know if you've seen Nanny McPhee.
Yeah.
She starts off as this really grotesque, awful looking nanny.
Yeah.
But the more the children are able to...
She grows into a beautiful... Yeah, I see that.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Ugly duckling sort of thing, syndrome.
Yeah, when we're in the duckling stage, we're not really ready to...
You reckon?
Oh, yeah. Some of us are. Not every single person. Some of us are.
Look. I had a thought today. I seen something of these youths with their trousers down there, right? And they said, "Where did?" And the caption said, "Where did we come from being educated and being to the point where now these youths are wearing their trousers down the ankle and they developing postcode and gang warfare." You know what my answer was to that? I put the caption back on the social media. I said the reason why this is because. Oh, you want to read that text?
I don't think you're going to like it. It's going to stir it up a little bit.
Go on, why not?
019. I think I remember that number.
Yeah, him. He's back. I thought he was dead.
That's not very good.
I know. Go on.
He's on again to talk a load of rubbish, Mr. Heru.
Yes, that's per usual.
Lay off the tenants, Heru.
What?
Ha. Very funny.
Oh, that's an old text.
No, it's just coming.
Yeah, because I said to him, that's old. I said to him,
the old one.
Yeah,
okay.
Because old one. I said to him,
it's old ones that resent then.
Yeah, he resent. I said, lay off the crack pipe. That's why he went. Ha. 019. Lay off the crack pipe, mate. And I'm sure that's an old text.
But it just came in. It's the only one that's there.
You must have resent it.
Yeah, it says
he's listening.
Obviously, Europeans here to do the jobs we used to fill. Our people need to wake up and see what the overall plan is. Great show, Brother Heru. Big up. It's the same person, by the way.
Really?
Wow. For once in your life, Mr. Heru, aka, not saying that, you're not running down a fellow black radio station. Keep it that way, bro.
Whatever. Anyway, you see, we're in tune to the People's Talk Show, and it's a fact. I said this, and I saw these young men wearing these trousers down to their thing there, and the question was asked, where did we move from that, from educating the rest of the people to our youths representing? I said the reason why our youths, I like this, because they can't explain why they wear their trousers down there, and why do they develop postcodes and things like that. You see what I'm saying? And I said they can't explain to you why. Then they don't know themselves, and I said that they are returning ancestors. They are not children in the sense because you see them in nappies and begging your help. Needing your guidance and nurturing. But they are returning old spirits. Why do you think that when in Africa, in ancient Africa, when a child was born, he was taken to the shaman or the priest and asked to identify who is this that's coming back? And the priest was able to tell them whether that individual is going to be a rich man, poor man, beggar man, or thief. You see? Well, we've lost that kind of knowledge now. So when these children choose us as a porthole to come into this world, they're coming back to prove something. Because they can't explain themselves why they got the postcode and why they're stabbing and killing each other.
Tribal wars?
But these are returning spirits that have always murdered. You see? That they've their chance to come back in now.
Sun asili seed.
What's that?
The sun. You always talk about it.
Yes.
The sun and asili.
Asili. A long time I heard that word, Asili. You remember?
I love it. I just
you got a good memory.
Read about
Asili. Oh man,
sun
I forgot that.
Seed.
Thanks for reminding me. Wow, I must go and dig up the information again.
Yeah.
Asili. Wow. You see? And we have to look.
What was some of them? Bad from inception.
All right. Oh, you got a good memory. Bad from. You see, we're busting our brains, and some of them come from good homes, with parent, mother and father together, and what we got to realize is not all of us have gone through gangs. I mean, we've become of adulthood, right? But we've never been to jail. No, some of us have never been to jail.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And they've never been in the gangs. I've never been in a gang. There's only one brethren I have moving me and him back to back. My brethren Ricky.
How is he?
It's fine. He's here. He lives in Gambia, mind you, but he's here for a long while. Latoya's father. She was educated by her father, Ricky, about the situation, how we view, me and him went and dealt with the situation here in Europe. We deal with it. But the youths nowadays, they're on a different tip. These returning ancestors are spirits that have unfinished, they have not cultivated themselves. Right, and I prove it, because why would somebody like Nielsen, for instance, right, just to move away from our youths, it's not only youths, it's adults that are killing as well. You see, governments are killing, you see, but it's the animal. Nielsen, for instance, what make a man could chop up an ex-human being and boil him and stuff him down the gutter? And you got another one, the Moors murder. One of them was, well, no, not Moors, the other one was killed about 15 people and buried them under the floorboard and went to sleep on top of them.
Who's that? Is that the West?
Yes, that's right.
That was a couple.
Yeah, a couple.
That was a couple. That wasn't even a single.
Not even a single.
That's a male and a female.
Portals. Those are returning. They've always murdered. You see? Nielsen's always murdered. You've got to give a philosophical explanation. You can't explain these things then. You see? You need to, we need to become knowledgeable. Instead of taking advantage and ripping people off, like Oxfam and other groups that are around who can abuse the people who are, the abused become the abuser. You see what I'm saying to you?
It's a self-perpetuating cycle.
Yes. And they have no empathy. Can you imagine, really? I mean, if it's me, I don't know. Go to another country where the disaster is. Then I said opportunity. I said opportunist. Where can I get a bird? In the midst of all of this. So these people that keep using Africa as a springboard for their ambitions, and that are really being unfair, just as much as unfair as these organisations are. And in portraying that image of Africa, they help themselves as well, but they don't tell anybody they help themselves. You don't know that they've got children out there. A lot of them, what you hear preaching out there today, talking about Liberation Africa, right? And because Oxfam has been exposed, they get very jumpy. They don't like to hear about that, because the light shines on them too, in a funny kind of a way. You see, because they're doing antics over there. Some of them have even got land. How many of these liberation organisation leaders and founders got land? In the very same place.
The organisation doesn't have land, just the individuals.
Just the individuals, not the organisation.
This is the point I'm trying to make.
Is it?
That it's not the organisation. It's the one who instituted it, the one who builds it, the one who comes up with the concepts using the idea apparatus, if you like.
It's the abusers.
Okay, the ones who are seeking power.
That's right. Look at Jonestown Massacre, for instance. I always use the Jonestown Massacre.
Look at the Tuskegee report. The situation in America where they tested syphilis on black men. They gave some syphilis. They told some that they were better. They gave some placebo. And others, they just let the disease take its course through their body. Yeah. And they wrote down every single detail why these people suffered.
But the thing about that is, were they knowledgeable about their plight? This is what I'm trying to say. People are taking advantage. Those abusers of power, we discovered that they are abusers because the government give the Oxfam 300 billion. 32 million a year, in 1 year. Not including what they collect from the public.
Exactly.
The 32 million.
And their sponsors.
All right. And if they were said, how big is Oxfam, would you reckon?
It's a massive organisation. It's in every.
It covers every country, right? Yeah. I mean, they all right. They do stern work, stunning work, good works in helping. We don't say that the theme is wrong. They do stunning work. They do good work to help people in disasters. But 32 million, now that can pay holy wages, bruv. That can sustain an organisation if they get 32 million a year from the government to perform these acts, right? And the executive of that company, say for instance, what would his wages be?
Oh, a lot. It's definitely
Why? It's not different from
it would be a lot. It'd be in the 200,000 minimum.
But why? You know, and these other executives of other
because
countries.
Because he's made money for them. He's risen their profile.
For the company? For
Oxfam. He's. I
wonder if you can get that. How much the head of Oxfam get in a year? It'd be interesting to try and know that. The head or the executive, the head of Oxfam. If the government gives them 32 mil, right? If the government gives them 32 mil, and they get funding from elsewhere as well. How much is the executive going on with? They're not including ones that are under the executive and all the workers. What's the wage earner of somebody that works for Oxfam? Well, how much do Oxfam...
over here, no one's allowed to earn over 27 grand now. Unless
really?
Yeah, that's the max.
So the max is 27,000?
Yep.
Okay, so you have these workers that... I mean, they're not working for nothing. Even though they're charity workers.
They might get even less than that because of the benefits.
Yeah. So the workers then.
How much does
the workers that are working for these people, right, are actually getting? I don't know how much they actually get, but I'm assuming that they get maybe 14,000, 15,000. No, 20.
You're crazy.
More than that.
Yeah, because when I worked for a particular charity that dealt with people that were homeless and had come out of prison and things like that, I worked. I volunteered there. I got £3 luncheon voucher while he was in the top 10 company to work for and paid himself $250,000 per annum, and that was back in 2010-11.
What, the director
of the charity that I worked for?
Wow.
Yeah, £3 luncheon voucher and my fares.
So how much did you pay?
250,000.
Bloody hell! That's higher than some.
Hold on, and that does not include expenses because you still get your expenses as a company director. So his gas, electric, mortgage, la 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 la, and because of that, he didn't pay much taxes either. So when I say 200,000, that's clear.
Wow, in his pocket.
Yep.
I mean, he's probably been working for how many years for the company?
He built it.
Right. So, and yet the governments are funding these people, right? And now they're asking for account for their behaviour, right? And because once they remove the funding, where was that woman that did that charity for that group? What was her name? She got removed as well, and she lost the funding. What's her name again? That white woman who was doing the charity work for black children.
Oh, Camilla Batman Gelly.
Yes. How much was she earning a year?
Well, these are questions.
Yes, because I'm thinking, if these people are getting paid government that amount of money from the government, they don't
getting millions.
Yeah, but that's right. I heard that she was funding her friends, giving her friends all sorts of. You see, so they trust the human.
Look, 32 charity bosses paid over 200,000 last year.
Wow, you see me? I say you're right. 32 chief executive, not the directors.
It says charity bosses.
Oh, charity bosses, okay. That have work been paid 200 and what?
Over 200,000 a year.
Wow, off somebody's back. So when you hear them advertising and putting us using Africa again, you know, poor Africa must be tired of being used.
This is one. The highest paid executive was a London clinic, an independent hospital. It's independent though, but it could have charitable status even though it's independent.
That. You don't know the thing already. Yeah, we know they can do that. Yeah.
Where an unnamed staff member earned between 850,000 and 860,000 per annum.
That's the wage earning. You see, the workers, the working class. You see, that which you call the middle working class, not the lower working class.
Listen. The highest payer was St Andrew's Healthcare, a medical charity.
Medical charity.
On the charity.
Yes.
Which paid 750 to 760,000 a year to its former chief executive, Philip Sugarman, in his final year at the charity.
Wow. So charity is big business.
I've told you, it's all about business. It's never been about anything
else. They don't
else.
care. It's nothing to do with caring about the individual.
It's not for profit, but you can run business in addition to that.
You can make it a profit, innit? You're making a profit. You don't need to make profit.
Charities are not allowed to make a profit.
Well, they're not allowed to see it as that. You know what I mean?
No.
If you're getting 200,000 a year, man, is that a profit, isn't it?
So, okay, I've got a charity called the Heru Dionne Foundation. Okay, and I want you to contribute to my foundation because you subscribe to the ethos. It does give a certain amount of charity alms. Remember, it's not changed from the alms to those less fortunate, shall we say? And I go to the government and say, look, I can produce this and I can do that and I will do this with this amount of money from you. Whether or not I do that, because there's a thing that we fail to understand. The law is not the policy of an institution, a business, or a charity. Okay, the law is the law. Okay.
Well, Black's law?
That's a dictionary.
Okay.
That is the law on words, though.
That's what I mean, yeah.
That is the law on words.
Nautical law?
It's the law. It's the law on words.
Okay.
And blacks also have a medical dictionary too. Did you know that? Which tell you the real.
Well, connotate means it's what you call a socialization con. So it's not the real thing. So when you have the connotate and you got the actual word itself, you find a great manipulation going on there.
So this is how we've been informed by the education that's been given.
I mean out of form, because
we've been informed by the socialization that we've had, using the word in the way
class again. This is what it boils down to, because the upper class. We're going to read on what you're saying.
But I digress. These David Mobb from the Nuffield Health Centre, from Nuffield Health,
the charity, yeah.
They're all funded by the government. All of them are. 640,000.
Wow. Some of
the biggest international aid organisations have been heavily criticised for their senior executive pay levels, but they didn't make the top 100, top 10 or top 32. He didn't get so much. Oxfam and Christian Aid, which were featured in the Daily Telegraph's investigation, paid less than 125,000 a year to their top executives, so fell just outside the year's top 100.
Just outside?
Just outside. That's this year. So look at it this way. He may have been there. And he also availed himself of all the benefits of...
Try and find how large Oxfam is, because I'm thinking its headquarters are here in England, right? How large? Listen to
these ones that we hear about.
Yeah.
Other large charities that did not make the list include Sight Savers, the RSPB for birds, both of which have incomes of more than 100 million per annum.
My Lord, is it big business, right?
Charity is business.
So
business is charity.
Yes. So this is what I'm saying to you. It's the abuse of power, I think, basically what we're talking about here, because we can argue on a wrong point. We can argue about what the charities are doing in the countries that they purport to be helping, rather than do they need to be there at all? This is the $1 million question. Do Africa actually have to have these people in the country? This is my point. Why does the AU not substitute, get rid of them, stop them from coming into the country and do what they're doing?
Because it's big business.
But we've been used.
It's not their fault that you don't know it's big business.
But with the emotion, with the advert and the emotion, help.
Who told you to get emotional about it?
Well, I'm human, bro. When I see
told you to get?
But I'm human.
Seriously speaking,
I'm human. When I see that, I feel bad.
if I show you something that's really nice, I don't know what you like, but like, say I show you something that you really, really, really like. You could hate it as well too, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, you really, really like it, and you feel guilty about liking it, and I'm saying, but look at its parts. You can take it apart. Good salesmanship. Look, it's a Biafran. It's got a big belly. It's got skinny arms. It hasn't eaten.
Flies around.
It hasn't got water. It's got flies in its mouth. It can't even cry because it's so hungry.
Help us.
Hold on a second. At what point do we suspend animation and think, hold on, what's in it for you?
Yeah.
You're asking me to give. Why are you telling me to give? Why don't you give? Question.
Yes, and this is the same things happening to our community. We're always giving. As you said, we're always in that giving mode. And people are that are not Oxfam, not these big organisations. So we got it from both ends. We got it from these big organisations and these little ones who are tending to mimic.
We have it in our families. Come on, Heru, you're putting it on the macro here. I want to keep it down on the earth brown. We have family and friends. Certain friends, when they're calling, they only call you when they would need money, right? They're always begging, the light don't work. We need the shoes. We all have friends like that. We know how to deal with them, don't we? We put the phone down. We don't actually answer it.
The other day I had to laugh. There's a thing in Jamaica. This clip I saw on WhatsApp where the woman said, "Listen, when you come to Jamaica, don't expect me to climb any ackee tree."
Yeah, I saw that one on
You saw
Facebook.
that one? Don't expect me to go and run around because she's saying that when we say that Jamaicans are asking too much, and we try to show them, look, we have to come out in the snow. She said, look at,
and I have to go to work.
Yeah, she said, look at Jamaica. Look, see it dark and rainy. It's rainy and dark now. And when I go out there, give my respect. So yes. You out there now, I go around and I tell about how I forgotten cold and snow. And look, Jamaica, it's wet and not now. When you come, don't ask me to climb any ackee tree. Don't ask me to. I thought, I could understand what you're saying though. But the thing about it is this.
We love it. We just love. As Reese rightly said, we do tend to like this learned helplessness. Okay, and if a person can give you a good story, we love a good story.
Yeah, but even beyond Oxfam, somebody's doing the same thing to us now. You want to read the last text before we finish?
We love this learned helplessness, and we indulge in it.
We're so gullible that anyone can come to us and do that to us, and we don't care. This is the whole thing. This is what I can't understand.
Oh, someone's having a little bubble.
What's that?
They say that. What does it say? It says. You talk about Africa. You steal an African name, but you have you ever been there? Tell me. If you haven't, brother, please keep Africa out of your mouth. I've been there many times.
Big deal.
Your wife in the studio makes you talk more constructive things.
Oh, come off it. See, these little self-righteous people with their "I've been to Africa" thing, and then doing squat diddly. This is the whole thing.
I've acquired a status.
Yeah,
Mr. Heru.
Have you been to Africa? If you don't been
Mr. Heru, I've acquired a status.
Yeah,
because apparently I'm your wife.
Yeah, that's all okay.
He said,
it's these little self-righteous.
They actually say your wife in the studio make you talk more constructive things.
Well,
Mr.
whatever.
Heru. Let her come on your show more.
Why are you listening to my show in any case?
Keep you sane.
Well, he doesn't like what I say. Why are you listening to my show in any case? I'll be on tomorrow morning. Not tomorrow morning, but I'll be on tomorrow around about 1:00. I'm starting late tomorrow. All week. I'm going to be coming from 1:00, and am I going to have some fun with little These are the self-righteous, because they've been to Africa, they've become experts in Africa. They don't live there. They'll never live there, but because they've been, that automatically they become experts in Africa.
But the thing that I've been learning,
you see what I'm
Heru,
saying? Which is ridiculous.
the thing that you know,
Have you been?
I'm learning is that, you know, something.
Oh,
it depends on
God.
whether or not you look at Africa as
Bread basket. That's what they look at.
not necessarily as a bread basket, but
They
if you look at yourself being allegedly African, with all our mix up and blend up, and then mix up and blend up of all different kind of people invading and taking over. Is there a true African left?
But I don't even know what they're talking about. The whole world is Africa. Every human being, if you're human, you're an African. And then, you know, this word again is another story. If you're going to talk, it was in Africa, what was it really called? Akabulu land or something like that. I don't know. But again,
why can't you say it properly?
No.
Al-Kabulan.
Akabulu sounds more better.
African to you.
Yeah, rather
to
than
you.
Akabulan.
Al-Kabulan.
Yeah. So the thing about it is, it's these little fringe groups like the last text sender, like they're in there, that would be doing the same thing as Oxfam. Have you been there? Because I've been. It's like a.
Yes, but we get shown pictures of it. So, yeah, we must go there because our money travels there very well.
Really?
Well, obviously, if we're giving to these charities whose executives earn so much money and they go over there and exploit and abuse and power over there. Seriously?
This is the trouble with us today. We're in a problem because we're doing the same thing as Oxfam to our own people. Africa does not need handouts. It's about time we stop treating her as though she needs, handouts. I don't see Africa as somewhere that keeps needing schools, needing old Brock, needing old phones, needing
Speak
this.
English now.
Old Brock.
Rag and bones.
Rag and bone, man, like that.
You can't even use that now.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Recycling.
International recycling. Is the proper
Recycling,
word.
yeah.
Yes, international rescue. We're Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds are go. Every flashpoint in Africa, right? We go there and feed.
It's not just Africa. It's done everywhere.
The AU.
Because the business is business. Charity is business.
And we're practicing it amongst ourselves in this community as well, where they're getting a piece of the pie as well.
We make business to sell as charity and to help ourselves.
How many money?
Speculative and opportunist.
That's right. So how many these organisations are collecting on behalf of Africa? People, they wind you up about Africa.
The thing is,
right?
again, you keep talking about the organisation. I want to know when we're going to wake up, and no one could do that in your personal life, right? Someone can't say to you, "Oh, give me £100,000, and I'm going to take it to somewhere else where they need it more, and I'm going to build this and that and the other." You don't ask. So, where's my return on my investment? Because I'm investing in your investment in Africa. So what's my part in it? Where am I going to get? How? You have to explain. Look, there's 5 things I keep saying. Who, what, where, when, why, 6 things, and how.
But they manipulate us for our emotion.
No. It's time for us to be in charge of our emotions.
I think so, because we're being manipulated for our emotions all the time by these people. Time now 5:57, and we come to the end of our show. And it's been wonderful to be here with Sister Dionne. I hope that she'll be back with us again shortly, because I know she's been missed and all that with her dulcet tones over the air. And so I would like her to say a goodbye.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being as I am. So I hope to see you in the not too distant future.
That means there's no time period there. You're not saying you come back next talk show when I'm on again. You know what I mean?
Oh, baby, don't mind.
Quickly
don't do that.
Yeah, we'll just read the last text. Oh, they're coming in now. I come a bit late. They've got 5:58 and counting.
This is from 278. Says, awesome show, Heru.
Thank you very much for that. Text sender.
Yeah, so yes.
So I look forward to your interacting again.
Yeah, did you miss me?
Yes, of course we did. Yes, you was.
No, not we. Are we crazy? Is we cry? We no, I know you isn't cray. It's a specific and direct question.
I know that G.
If you wish to take the Fifth Amendment,
misses you. G.
If you wish to take the Fifth Amendment, I won't hold it against you.
Okay. Okay,
But
well,
it's been good to be back.
nice one. Well, you know, I look forward to our interactions again. You know, I'll be in this week. I'll be in from about 1 o'clock onwards. I won't be in from 10 or 11. I'll never make it at 10 in any case. But I'll be.
They say confessions good for the heart.
soul. Yeah, I'll be here like from 1 o'clock onwards, having some fun with you this week. I look forward to seeing you, to interact with you, to share ideas with you and concepts, you know, as well, and to look forward to growing psychologically, growing mentally and spiritually. Well, there's only one thing left for me to say, and that is what I always say, and that is, this is Heru saying I.
Accept your own and be yourself. Genesis.